Honestly, it really is just a case of I need to work on actual. Well, there's a lot I could work on in terms of my voice projection, actually getting enunciation out properly, and just actually feeling out the characters. Because it's just like, hey, look at that. What do I keep saying about myself? I need to be able to sound like Faust and Yi Sung, and it's just like, I'm a little bit there. It's more just a matter of either sounding tired or sounding so prissy that I don't know what I'm doing with myself, but at the same time, who could say for sure? I know what I could say for sure. We should probably consider starting this game on account of the fact that a lot of preamble is mostly there for the sake of warming up my voice. But, you know, majority of the time it's also just me just going, wait, let me check one thing. Okay, good. I was about to be like, my camera has a built-in microphone, and it's betrayed me once already. I don't want that to happen. If anything, we could probably just go ahead and make it happen right now, because there's nothing stopping us except the concept of lawyers in general. But you know, who's got time for that? Let's see here. Once again, I am asking you very nicely. I don't have 30K, but let's see. That being said, tell me how your days have been going, chat. Me, I'm over here just like, yes, it's cold. I can finally live again, but it's not too cold, so I won't die going outside, but still. If anything, last time on Of the Devil, I forgot to drink water, thus making Morgan sound like she doesn't want to be here anymore. Which, you know, to be fair, that's kinda true. But at the same time, you know how it goes. How do you feel about Blooper Team Rule of Rose? I feel about Blooper Team Rule of Rose the same way I feel about Blooper Team in general. As long as you aren't out here just going neurodivergent people themselves, I will be ambivalent and less of a hater. But at the same time, if we actually do get a Rule of Rose remake that's actually good and actually sticks to what it's supposed to be, I won't complain. I know I will continue to feel that way about Silent Hill 2, but it's also me just being absolutely not involved in the idea of how could you sit here and eat pizza in 4K, but at the same time, you know, realistically, I'm just of a matter of I will renege what I said about them if they actually do the job that I expect them to, so I can actually engage with this in a proper manner, you know, because I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. That game crashed twice on me with no gameplay involved, and I'm over here just like, nah, no. But you know, who can say for sure? I'm just here thinking to myself, it needs to keep the same energy, and it also needs to respect what it's about. I don't trust Blooper Team with that, but at the same time, I'm willing to be wrong. Even still, it's just like with me and my concept of reading comprehension and this attorney's badge that I've apparently owned, but even still, we should probably consider starting, because frankly speaking, I want to get into the court hearing. We will be here for 3 hours otherwise. I also need to really lock down my voice for these people. I only know how to properly sound like Morgan when I'm having a good day. I want to be a cowboy, baby. Things are quieter than I expected here at the courthouse. Though I've always felt courthouse is a bit of a misnomer. A government building is probably the best way to describe these towers, all-encompassing and impenetrably vague. 100 floors of officials and documents and paper pushing queues, with a couple dozen courtrooms squeezed in along the way. Didn't think I'd be arguing in court when I woke up today. Didn't think that my friend would be dead, or that he'd have thrust an android onto my lap either. I could just walk in there and concede. Emma would be irritated and more than a little confused, but I could play it off as an exercise in grief. The android won't complain, loudly of course, but I wouldn't have to listen to it. Now that it's registered in my name, I could probably just order the damn thing to reset its memory. But I haven't done that. And I guess I don't plan to. Why? It must be because I have my suspicions as well. Sarah insists that David would never commit suicide, and I haven't actually stopped to ask myself whether or not I agree. David was rational, subdued, private, hard on himself. and not prone to emotional outbursts. So maybe that's why I'm finding myself outside a courtroom, prepared to humor and add suspicion before the state. Because I don't really believe David killed himself either. What's your progress bar at? I can confirm that I am making progress. Yeah, you keep doing that, Sarah. Well, shit. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But it would be difficult to summarize that progress in terms of completion percent. Give it your best shot anyway. 4%. I mean, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Internet traffic must be terrible in this city. Are you feeling confident in your case? Markedly less so after hearing that. Do you think the judge will be amenable to your argument? Amenable? What are you talking about? Do you know the judge we've been assigned? Are they particularly lenient or strict? Adjutants are always a coin flip, so... You do know what an adjutant is, don't you? Are you expecting to see a bearded old man with a robe and a gavel when we get in there? I mean, we are kind of 2 for 2 on Phoenix Wright references, so yeah, kinda. Should I not? Adjutants are android judges, okay? With all the authority that entails. You know what? Give me a brief second here. I forgot that I want to use my controller for this. Let me see. Also, hello, Carp. As you can see, you haven't missed a darn thing from when you were here. I need you to understand. Lawyer game, but even still.
Hi, honey.
Let's see here. Terminology. I want terminology right now. Let's see. Adjutants are automated dependents that preside over trials for the state. While most adjutants are designed as sold as software and then loaded onto courthouse-specific hardware, including android bodies, they can interpret trial proceedings and render judgment based entirely on stenographer records if need be, ruling on cases in an entirely digital capacity. Reviews of adjutants by third parties have shown that they are overwhelmingly more equitable and even-handed in their sentencing than human judges, because they cannot be bribed or intimidated. Adjutants are especially preferred for cases involving organized crime or corporate misconduct. Adjutants use a ninefold personality engram for rendering their judgments and building consensus, known as the nonary system among software engineers. Because each of these 9 personas are constructed by a different think tank or institution from across the political spectrum, ideological contamination in adjutant units is practically impossible. There have been a small number of reported cases where nonary processing has borne particularly enthusiastic or eccentric personas, presumably in an unorthodox if not effective attempt to reconcile particularly disparate opinions across their 9 constituent personalities with a single authoritative, loud voice. With the state's court backlog essentially cleared for the past half-decade, questions arose as the continued need for adjutants to lighten the judicial system's human resource burden, but Senate Investigative Committee 74J091 determined that removing adjutants from the legal system would be prohibitively expensive at this point. You know what? Understandable. You created the civil system to basically create a system in which you don't have to work, and now you can't remove it. That's your fault. I am surprised to hear that people are willing to accept rulings made by automated dependents. Rulings come from landmark cases in the higher courts. Those are passed down by actual judges, real people with decades of study and experience. But not every eviction case or traffic ticket that ends up in court requires years of legal expertise. Sometimes all you need is a referee and a sentencing algorithm. So, androids are used to reduce caseload. Been that way for decades. But how was a law that replaced judges ever enforced? Would there be injunctions? Stolen? Judges did fight for years, at every level, in every theater. But the public lost their patience for that kind of obstruction during the 60s. The state needed to shred budgets across the board. And so judges that couldn't be replaced by years of legal battles were instead ushered into early retirement by unrelenting force of our great nation's accountants. It's not controversial having machines determine sentencing for human beings. Whatever controversy there is, it gets aimed at the machines, not the people who put them there. And the machines can't lose sleep over it. Wow, that's not corrupt and easily manipulated at all. You heard them. They're using AI algorithms to make sure that you don't have to worry about that. As if this isn't an indictment in of itself. You gotta understand, this game is actually low-key kinda spittin'. But you know. Besides, that used to be that even the most high-profile of crimes wouldn't get a court date until weeks or months later. Nowadays, most crimes are prosecuted within a single business week. Well, that's at least better than Phoenix Wright, where it's just like, hey, look at that, the judge is actually low-key kind of miffed because he thought he could make his dinner date when literal murder is being decided upon, you know? And that's not rushing things. Keeps people in my line of work on their toes, that's for sure. I'm just surprised to hear that there's so much haste. Don't they teach you about classical conditioning in Android school? You gotta feed the dog immediately after you ring the bell. If punishment doesn't follow the crime in quick succession, the lesson doesn't stick. I see. But if adjutants are so effective, why aren't they used in every trial? Why aren't they used in politics? That's a logical question to ask. And the answer is that logic only gets you so far when it comes to people. Doesn't everyone want the courts to be as just as possible? If adjutants are truly impartial and incorruptible, everyone wants justice, sure. But there are considerations to be had, such as disgust. Definitely nothing could go wrong with such rushed judgments. Oh no, don't get me wrong, even the ones that aren't rushed, even the ones in our own society don't necessarily get the time of day that they need to properly be adjusted. You know what I mean? I literally saw that a couple years ago. I literally saw too many people walk off of death row and into the great beyond because of that. But you know, it's not quite a laughing matter. It's more just you know, sometimes you can't help but be a little bit black about it. Give me 1 second here. Let's see here. There we go. I'm sorry. Sometimes things don't announce properly, but let's see here. What? That's all people really care about. What all their morals boil down to. Just what they do or don't find disgusting. Only problem is, everything's more palatable when viewed through a screen. So, when everyone sees the world through AR and cameras, and no one ever gets dirt under their fingernails, you'd be surprised what you can get away with. I don't understand. Yeah, well, therein lies the problem. Truly, it is a real case of I need you to understand that, frankly speaking, if you're not there, you tend not to care. But you know, that's true of a lot of things. Meanwhile, inside the courtroom, 48D. Hey, look everybody, it's Janako Karigiri if she wasn't raised by 2chan, but still. Just a preliminary hearing, huh? You wouldn't know it from the look on her face. But I shouldn't have expected any leeway once we stepped into the courtroom. Not with her. That's the adjutant up there? Is it asleep? It's loading. Well, I'm not gonna be wrong, they sure made the adjutant look her part, but still. What you doing with arms that long? It needs to load? Don't be rude. Not every ad can afford to be decked out as extravagantly as you. Especially not those the state buys in bulk. There's an audience. You mean the gallery? It's nothing. It could have been a lot worse. Would have been a trial in the case of David Usher's death must have spread like wildfire, even a mock trial like this one. Detectives like Reyes or London would get chewed out for leaking things to the peers, to the press. But uniformed officers had little to lose and a lot to gain by dropping a text to their attentive friends in the media. And then there's the corporate plants. Interns usually, preferably ones with modded eyes. It's illegal to film inside a courtroom, but this is the year 2086. Things are gonna get out one way or another. I don't like having my face on camera. I don't like attention in general. But I'm not such a coward that I'd skip David's funeral just because there'd be paparazzi outside of it. My pretty little likeness was going to end up on the background of some tabloid photograph one way or another by the end of this circus. At least this way, it's decent marketing for my legal services. What will happen once the adjutant finishes loading? How will the trial proceed? With all those films you watched, I'd figured you could extrapolate. I am asking so as to correct my misconceptions. Well, not everything you saw on the silver screen is outdated. The court will come to order, and there will be a clarification of the charges. The defense enters a plea, and if it's not guilty, the prosecution begins making their case. That means calling witnesses to the stand, correct? Mostly. Sometimes they'll testify virtually from a separate location. Depends on the security concerns surrounding the particular individual in the case. What do you do then? Sit here and watch? Not if I want to get paid. I cross-examine witnesses after the prosecution are done questioning them. I can present evidence or witnesses of my own response as long as I have discovery backing me. You've said that before. Discovery means just that I can't pull stuff out of my pockets and present it without any kind of context. I have to prove that I acquired it legally during the course of my investigation. Most of the time, that means having recordings or witnesses that can verify my investigation, which I can provide. You didn't think I was letting you tag along because I liked you, did you? And the jury? I don't see where they would sit. The jury hasn't sat in an actual courtroom for years now. They have their own chambers, where they watch a feed on the trial's proceedings in anonymity. And that's not an issue? Don't people want to look at someone in the eye before passing judgment on them? You've got an old-fashioned sense of justice, don't you? But there's no jury at a preliminary hearing anyway. It's only meant to evaluate whether or not the prosecution has enough evidence to go to trial. A mere formality in today's day and age. With tools like optics and arcs, there's never any shortage of evidence to work with. So all you have to do today is convince the adjutant? Easier said than done. Adjutants lean heavily towards evidence over arguments. And right now, all the evidence suggests that David killed himself. If it's going to be an uphill battle, I can't afford to stumble. I need to focus on establishing an alternate interpretation of the facts, and it needs to be solid. But I don't have a suspect, or even a motive for killing David. Yet. Anyway, I'll need to be sharp. Emma doesn't play nice enough for me to be anything less. I think it's waking up. This third lower court is now in session. Adjutant AD 84 presenting. I call to order the case of People versus Usher. Do the people wish to make an opening statement? No, Your Honor. No point in bothering when it's just the adjutant here. Very well. Do the defense wish to make an opening statement? Not at this time, Your Honor. Might as well ring the bell and get this shit show started. If neither the people nor the defense wish to make an opening statement, then it falls to me to set the stage. My model name is Adjutant. My unit destination code is AD-84. I am a machine, an automated dependent, and I serve the state by presiding over trials. You might find yourself wondering, why? What gives a machine the right to judge a human? A fair question, but the answer is simple. In every culture, in every society, no matter how it is worshipped, enshrined, or defined, justice has one defining quality. Justice is beautiful. Like a balanced equation, like the golden ratio, like the Vitruvian Man, justice is beautiful. So, what gives me the right? This gorgeous bod. You know what? I could see her argument. Whatever. Forget it. Forget I said anything. I was trying to lighten the mood, but I can see everyone hates me. Do the trial without me. They're guilty or whatever. Your Honor. Wait, what the flip? This defendant's already dead. Why are we doing this? Is this a debug thing? Because I'll log the error if you need to. No, Your Honor, this is a preliminary hearing to determine whether David Usher did, in fact, commit suicide as he... I get it. You want to know. You want to make sure he wasn't cuckoo in the cranium before you cut up his will like a T-bone. I didn't realize the Judans were so... lively. They aren't. They're supposed to be austere and statuesque. Looks like we got served the most in need of repairs a Judant the court system could find. Whatever paper pusher we rushed to get this trial going must have wanted a little payback for the kindness. What's this? What's that look for? Could it be you're trying to size me up? Wow. Chad, I think the adjutant needs help. Wouldn't dream of it, Your Honor. Good, because if you have doubts about my ability to run this trial, I could always just enact summary judgment here and now. I'm sure you'll find my ruling to be fair and even-handed. That won't be necessary, Your Honor. She's much more of a character than I'm used to seeing up there, even counting out the flesh and blood judges I've met. But she's still just an adjutant. You'll follow the evidence where it leads. So as long as I can make a few adjustments for the occasional outburst from the bench, my plan's still workable. So, people, shall we get started with that first witness? Right away, Your Honor. The people call Dr. Yumi Sato to the stand. Oh boy, I already forgot what Yumi sounds like. I'm sorry. It's Yumi. Hey. So how about it, pretty lady? You swear to tell the whole true and unadulterated truth to the best of your ability? I do. Good enough for me. Dr. Sato, you were in charge of the autopsy for David Usher, were you not? I was. And when did you make your examination? I started last night. Well, technically, 1 a.m. would be very early this morning. I think you can still say last night if you're talking about 1 in the morning. Objection. The defense will have their opportunity to cross-examine. Until then, they should refrain from making errant remarks. Wow. Okay, fair enough. The hell? All I said was, yeah, what she said. You mean, sustained? Don't get cute with me, counselor. Wow. I didn't even do anything and I lose chips for that. I love it here. Being cute is my job. God damn, we've barely started. That seemed pretty bad, don't I? Making mistakes, it will increase your blind. Oh. Blind is how much credit you'll lose for answering incorrectly when you yourself aren't controlling the ante. Blind increments on its own throughout the trial as this blind increments on its own throughout the trial as the stakes get higher. What resets at the end of each day. Blind starts at And blind starts at and caps out at a higher number if you're playing in high roller. So I've duped myself. Understandable. Mind the blind numbers in the top left when it appears. It helps you gauge what you stand to lose. We should try to avoid being penalized in the future. Thanks for the tip. Shake it off. I'll get my chance to raise objections of my own soon enough. Dr. Sato, were you able to determine the cause of death? He passed away due to respiratory failure. Could you explain what that means to the court? Essentially, he wasn't getting enough oxygen into his blood. It seems by the time he arrived at the hospital, he was no longer breathing. What does respiratory failure look like? What are the symptoms? There would be a lightheadedness, dizziness, fainting, pale skin, and bluish tinge around certain extremities. And the condition he was in matched those symptoms? Correct. In your experience, what are the most common causes of respiratory failure? It can be caused by injury or disease. But the subject had no wounds or reported illnesses, and otherwise appeared to be perfectly healthy. And what else would cause respiratory failure then? It is also commonly seen in fatal drug overdoses. Drug overdoses? Did you perform a tox screen on Dr. Osher? Yes, but his tox screen came back clean. Whatever killed him, it wasn't something we've encountered before. Wait, a clean tox screen? Clean? Dialogue will proceed automatically during testimony, but you can still choose to advance text manually with continue. You'll need to read carefully and wait for the witness to make a statement that sounds wrong. Then hit the call button to call their bluff. Hover over the call button or toggle Insight to focus on claims with a witness statement. Insight can be disabled in settings. Testimony will loop until you call. Can't let this chance slip by. I need to catch her mistake the second it comes out of her mouth. Whiskey, Weinski, Schnapski, Litsky, David's contract, upright count. The subject passed away due to respiratory failure. Essentially, he wasn't getting enough oxygen into his blood. He would have experienced lightheadedness, dizziness, then fainting. Once the subject was healthy, their respiratory failure was attributed to drug overdose. But when a tox screen was run at the hospital, it came back clean. Yeah, I don't believe you. It was puzzling, to say the least. Something she said just now doesn't make sense. I have evidence that directly contradicts her, so I just need to find the right one to present it. Yeah, the suspect, respiratory failure. Essentially, he wasn't getting enough oxygen in the blood. I know what you want me to do, but I'm gonna wait for a second. As the subject was healthy, their respiratory failure was attributed to drug overdose. But when a tox screen was run at the hospital, it came back clean. It was puzzling, to say the least. Alright, I know what's happening here. Give me a sec. Yep. After choosing to call on a statement, you need to respond with evidence. Look at the 3 cards that show up, and confirm your card before the timer runs out. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Consider the whiskey drank before death negative for poison. That is, Opened your mouth without thinking, huh? Let me fucking read, adjutant, but still. There's only room for one airhead in this courtroom, and it's not you. It's me. Of course, Your Honor. Whiskey, Weinski, yes, understandable. I'm doing the thing again. Lightheaded is subject to the overdose. Run the tox screen, ran to the hospital, came back clean. They give me the thing right there. Let's see here. Drunk, not poisoned. Whiskey. Good. It's impossible for David Usher's talk screen to be clean, and we all know it. Since he was on camera drinking alcohol the night he died. Oh? That makes sense. And that scared you? The witness merely misspoke, Your Honor. As it plainly states in the talks report itself, Dr. Usher did have alcohol in his blood, but not at such a concentration that it was to be lethal. Yeah, my bad. When I said the talk screen was clean, I just meant it didn't tell the attending physicians anything they didn't already know. Overall, a little more nitpicky than I'd like to be, but at least I was able to balance the momentum, more or less. Shall we continue, Dr. Sato? If the talk screen were negative for pharmaceuticals and drugs, what caused Dr. Usher's respiratory failure? During my autopsy, I analyzed his blood and was able to isolate a foreign compound. So there was a lethal dose of drug inside his body. It just happened to be a drug that the hospital had never encountered before. That's correct. I think we're going to get tired pretty fast if we don't at least pick a placeholder name for this substance, Your Honor. The people don't object, Your Honor. In that case, I'll put up creative heuristics to work coming up with an original scientific fitting substance name. A name like Omega-3. No. That name is already taken. Fine, call it Delta, or whatever. Delta was used in science to denote an unknown variable. Not bad. Delta has other meanings when it comes to drugs. But yeah, our Delta matches no known public pharmacology or toxicology records. That being said, chemically it does have all the hallmarks of a general depressant. I know the feeling. So it stands to reason that it would exhibit the similar effect in the body when ingested. You say ingested. Why? I eliminated all other possibilities during my examination of the body. He must have swallowed it, and by judging from his stomach contents, it must have been a liquid. Thank you, Dr. Sato. Also, thank you, Belle. Hey, I got a thing to talk about with you in red later, but we'll get to that later. Either way, could you give yourself a shout-out, please? Shall I examine things for the court? Yes, please. I wasn't listening that closely. The victim died of respiratory failure, and his tox screen showed that his blood was clear of anything that could cause respiratory failure. Except for this unknown substance, the poison we've labeled Delta. Well, that sounds like a textbook suicide. Could we wrap it up here? Not quite, Your Honor. This may clearly be a poisoning, but there's at least one detail about this case that doesn't feel like a suicide at all. Let's see here. Died from respiratory blood failure, unknown substance. Drank with David before he died. Didn't see him add anything. Corroborated by cam footage. Death negative for poison. Nothing about the situation implies that David killed himself in any way regarding poison. His cause of death? Poisoning? Doesn't that strike you as odd? No, it's one of the more common methods of attempting suicide. Right. She's got me there. It's not the method that's suspicious so much as... Wait. Okay, I hit the wrong report by accident. I love that. Get over here. The people shouldn't get ahead of themselves. There's nothing textbook about a suicide that has a witness sitting there watching it happen. That had a witness sitting there watching it happen. As you say. Well, now I'm lost. Was this poisoning a suicide or not? If that's the case, then perhaps we should give the defense the opportunity to cross-examine. Unless they're going to insist on testifying themselves. How kind of you to offer. All's in my court now. So how do I counter? Emma's argument basically goes as follows. David ingested the Delta knowingly, and the Delta caused his respiratory failure. He died of respiratory failure, thus David committed suicide. During blackjack, every piece of information you learn deals you a card. Choose only the questions that are logical and relevant, and only press if you think a line of questioning is worth continuing. Or else, you'll go bust and lose credit. Select and press an option to see what the follow-up question would be. You can only win blackjack when you reach exactly 21. 21! I won, but no. We'll get to that in a bit. So don't press further if you're already there. With my cross-examination, I need to put a microscope over the weakest part of that argument, and hope that some cracks will appear under the pressure. Let's see here. Are you sure it was ingested? Are you sure it was respiratory failure? Are you sure it was Delta? Huh. Isn't it possible that he actually died from something other than respiratory failure? Well, no, not really. You could argue or speculate about what caused the respiratory failure, but it is, in fact, a fact that he died because his heart and lungs stopped working. Right. Thank you for that. I'm gonna keep it a buck. This blind is going fat real quick. I don't like it. Let's see here. Let's see. A minute. Quick backlog. Bonus. I would like to know what my options are. Thank you. But let's see here. Okay, then. Are we sure that... Actually, no. We can't tell if he was actually able to we can't tell what Delta actually looks like in the body. Therefore, are we sure it was Delta itself? Dr. Sato, you said that you were only able to identify the presence of Delta after hours of work. Can you really be sure that this never-before-seen chemical can cause respiratory failure? Well, I've had time to run simulations, and they do give every indication that it would act as a depressant. And just enough of any depressant and respiratory failure would occur. Only simulations? Yeah, you have no actual evidence in regards to that other than tests. I need to, other than tests you run in the background, but let me see here. Sup, bro? I don't know, Noah. How are you doing today? Me, I'm over here just going, please help me. I'm stuck in court, but still, I'm gonna press on this real quick. You've ran simulations? So you haven't tested Delta on an actual person? No, I haven't. That would be very difficult to do given our extremely limited sample. Not to mention, highly unethical. Of course. But without such a test, you don't actually know for sure that Delta can cause any of the symptoms you've described. Was there a question in that statement, counselor? You don't actually know for sure, do you? No, not yet anyway. Let's see here. I'm stuck in the ocean. The ocean that is overthinking in bed. You know what? That's entirely fair. I'm gonna be real with you. It's the middle of midwinter. We just had a historic, record-breaking storm. I think people are allowed to stay in bed and not think for a bit. Either way, I'm hoping for the most part you're doing okay. That being said, let me see here. Gonna be real with you. We have no idea if Delta is actually there. Actually, wait, no. Are you sure it was ingested? Did he not have an EpiPen? I don't know. I'm over here thinking to myself, give me some more details, please. Please. Also, my controller. Please, my controller is not giving me... There we go. Dr. Sato, you said that the subject had to have ingested the Delta orally. But how can we be sure about that? I'm pretty sure. I mean, I could go into detail about all the cavities that I checked, but... Was it knowingly ingested? Hello there, how's it hanging? Hello, Knight. As you can see, we're asking about whether a man was forced to take drugs when he was 6, but still, how are you? It's been a bit. But how sure can we be that the subject ingested the Delta knowingly? Well, we can't be sure of that. Certainly not just from an autopsy. You said that it must have been the liquid, yes? Would it have been a large amount? Depends on the concentration of the delivery solution. It could have been just a drop. The kind of thing that could easily go unnoticed, yes? Cause for speculation, Your Honor. Withdrawn. Oh man, I wanted to jump on her case. It seems like that's... Blackjack, excellent. 21. I won. Suck. Thank you for your time, Dr. Sato. We all appreciate it. But it does seem like we're still in the dark about many details regarding Dr. Osher's death, wouldn't you say? Well, poisoning via the compound we're calling Delta is still most likely the explanation. So there are other explanations for what happened. Defense is calling for speculation, Your Honor. It's not speculation when the medical examiner is attempting to explain the cause of death, Your Honor. Well, I am just jumping through. In half an hour, the Neo 2 demo is there, so I was just here to say hi and see how you were doing. I'm very glad for you. Me, I didn't realize the demo was tonight, but even still, I hope it's good. Me, I'm over here thinking to myself, between that, Code Vein 2, and Romeo is a Dead Man, I'm low-key stacked for a few months, you know what I mean? The witness will answer the question. Well, respiratory failure can be caused by illnesses. If he had undiagnosed pneumonia or some other disease and his respiratory system was weakened, undiagnosed pneumonia with his level of healthcare, it is technically possible. I'll take it. I have no more questions for the witness. That felt weak, but I can't be picky when I'm stalling for time. Okay, real talk, that judge bot is kind of a baddie. She's a little bit of an airhead, but I can respect it, you know? It's almost as if she was built wrong on purpose. Seeding doubt wherever I can, however I can, is just about all I can manage. I like how Emma is just bored. Detective Reyes, you were one of the leads investigating the crime scene. Yes, ma'am. And did you interview the EMTs who first arrived on the scene? I did. They responded to an emergency signal from the home security console located in the kitchen. What did they find when they arrived on scene? The victim was unconscious, on the floor of his parlor. He was receiving CPR from a witness, the individual who called them. They were both airlifted to Gatesfield Memorial Hospital, and Dr. Osher was declared dead shortly after arriving there. She's actually handling herself pretty well up on the stand. I half expected her to roll her eyes during the swearing in. But when you take into consideration her love for boot heel authority, she might be right at home here in the courtroom, the very seat of the state's power over the people. The witness met with the deceased about half an hour before he fell ill from 7:30 to 8 p.m. The two of them talked for some time and shared a drink. Shortly after, Dr. Osher became distracted, lightheaded, and eventually non-responsive. And during the same time period drinking the same liquor, this witness exhibited no symptoms themselves. None. Through a collaborative effort with Mobile Electronics Security Division, we searched the entire building, but found nothing unusual in any of the food or drink on the premises, including the bottle that the witness and the deceased drank from. So, what was your ultimate conclusion after investigating the scene? The whiskey bottle was clean, the witness's drink was clean. Only person who got sick was Dr. Osher, drinking from a cup that he prepared. So it was our determination that Dr. Usher committed suicide by poisoning himself. She's pretty tight-lipped up there, but I think she slipped up at least once. The police want to claim that they eliminated every other possibility and covered every angle. But I know there are a number of blind spots that they're not willing to admit to. The cup in the upright position. David's cup. The poison, especially for Cusco. Usher met with the witness at 7:30 last night, and by 8 p.m., he was the one who prepared their drinks. And there was no opportunity for the witness to ever slip him something. He drank from a cup that he himself poisoned. I don't know. Seems pretty cut and dry if you ask me, but either the cameras indicate that the poison itself is not there, but let's see here. But just to be sure, we scanned the kitchen, the lab, and the basement. There was no poison anywhere else. She slipped up there and made a claim she can't actually support. All we need to do is point it out, and then I'll get to watch her self-destruct, which should be fun. Let's see here. I'm trying to figure out what exactly makes sense about this, because I'm thinking to myself, he drank from a cup that he himself poisoned. It's definitely a thought in my own head, but I'm not sure. But just to be sure, we scanned the kitchen, the lab, the basement. It didn't give me a chance to do it. Okay, I'm not that terribly in the black, but let's see here. I'm trying that again. I know what I need to do. I just need to get in there. Let's see. Let me see it. Alright, let's see. Name unknown. The cup was inconclusive. That's cute, counselor. You almost made a salient point. Do I get points for that? Boy, I hope not. Otherwise, I wouldn't get to do this. Overruled. I hate it here. I need to make objections more carefully than that. Alright, let's see here. The way he was dead, the one who prepared the drinks, and there was no opportunity for the witness to ever slip him something. He drank from a cup that he himself poisoned. I think it's there. Let me see here. It's not poisoned. Okay, fuck you too, Emma. At this point, I'm low-key kind of guessing. Please help me. Let's see here. I did not expect lawyer game to be actual lawyer game for a second. Let's see. The one who prepared their drinks. And there was no opportunity for the witness to ever slip him something. He drank from a cup that he himself had poisoned. Seems pretty cut and dry if you ask me, but just to be sure, we scan the kitchen, the lab, the basement. And there was no poison anywhere else. I can't check my other evidence. Let me see here. He was the one who prepared the drinks. And there was no opportunity for the witness to ever slip him something. He drank from a cup that he himself poisoned. Seems pretty cut and dry. No, I still say it's either that or the camera footage, but let me see here. Or rather the basement check, you know? Let me see here. Not poisoned, knocked over by David, tested inconclusive, death. Hey, take that. You can't make that claim. Not when the evidence record clearly shows that the tests of David Osher's cup were inconclusive. The police can't claim that he drank from a poisoned cup without first proving that the cup was, in fact, poisoned. You're talking a lot of sense, lady. Does it resolve? Or do you have a response, D.A. Rockford? Testing the deceased cup has been inconclusive so far, Your Honor. I won't dispute that. Though, I'd be surprised if the defense had any idea how else the poison could have been delivered to Dr. Osher alone. Not at this time. But that's the funny thing about the burden of proof. It's not on the defense. As we're all aware. Right, we all knew that. I definitely knew that. Now, if the people are done bemoaning that pesky innocent until proven guilty issue, perhaps I could begin my cross-examination. Fire away, baby! Fire away. Baby. Reyes' testimony is meant to show that David's the only one who could have poisoned himself. She'll be on guard and hard set against helping me, but if I keep her focused on eliminating other possibilities, I could get her to make my point for me before she even realizes what's happened. What do you think about this? I'm over here thinking to myself, as far as I understand it, Reyes is enough of a hard ass to basically try her hardest to lie without actually lying. But I also think she's not, shrew enough for that, you know what I mean? Shrewd is the word I should be using, but even still. Give me 1 second. I do require water. That's the thing that took me out the last time. The fact that I apparently wasn't drinking enough water to properly sound good. I don't even know how these voices are meant to sound, apparently, but still. The ironic thing about it is that low-key, as soon as I start stream, I start feeling my sinuses act up, and it's just like, I was outside 4 hours ago, and now you want to act up? But still. Also, I didn't get to turn pith off, but let's see about that. You like throwables, chat? I know for a fact that you like throwables, but even still. It's slow on the uptake, but at the same time, it'll be there in just a bit. It's definitely not me trying to pad out ad space time, but you know how it goes. I do have to ask though, realistically, do you people engage in, criminal justice media? I only know about like a couple of episodes of Law & Order myself. I don't have TV, which is unfortunate, but even still. Regardless of that, it's mostly just a matter of there's really never been that much I've cared about. You could argue Better Call Saul, but Better Call Saul is less a lawyer show and more it's Saul Goodman just being a piece of garbage, but still. I don't, but I do like puzzles, even if I'm not good at them. You should like puzzles, they're good for your brain, but even still. Me over here just looking at even God of War had puzzles, and they don't put any respect on any of that. Which, to be fair, given the way the creator is, I think that's a little bit accurate to do, but still. I also low-key can't help but think to myself, the speech-to-text doesn't like when I'm loud half the time, you know? Even just trying to maintain this voice right here tends to be a little bit of a little, I don't care what you have to say it with better tone, is essentially the indicator of whether or not I'm doing my job correctly. But then again, you know how it goes. Everything is incorrect when it's not going correctly, but still. More important than that, wow, look, my blind is quite literally -11. Am I even gonna be allowed to get out of here? I don't even know, but still. We have to try it once, you know? If I fail, I fail. That's not my fault. They will literally make me start the chapter over if I try to renege on that. So no, we're not gonna do that. Let's see. Alright, let's see. Anyone else in the building ever seen poisoning himself? Could he have been poisoned off camera? I need to use the bathroom, but I don't want to miss anything. Oh, I will fill you in as we go along. Don't you worry about it. The ad break was there to help you go to the bathroom, but still. Detective, we've been doing a lot of assuming and reasoning in quick succession, so I'll ask this plainly for the court. Is there any photographic evidence showing David Usher added anything to his drink that night? No. Seems he had already poured for both of them by the time he returned to the parlor. He had already poured? In that case, the next questions need to be when and what. Was there anything in the kitchen? Detective Reyes, during the course of your investigation, did you find any samples of Delta in the kitchen or parlor? No. That was a fast answer. Well, it was a pretty easy question. If we found poison at the scene of the crime, that'd be pretty important, don't you think? What about in his lab? His bedroom? His basement? No, and no. We didn't find Delta or any other unusual substance in any part of his penthouse. Right. They never found any poison. No poison at all. What about a poison container? I'm low-key tempted to stay on that, but at the same time, who could say for sure? I am genuinely unsure. Let's see. If that's the case, more than likely, if there's no poison, there'd be nothing to put the poison in. Definitely not the whiskey bottle, definitely not the cup. But at the same time, who knows, you know? Let's see. Was there anybody else in the building? The only people you saw on the cameras that night were Dr. Usher and the witness, correct? Yeah, there was no footage in the house of anyone else. Are there any parts of the house that aren't recorded by camera? Sure. There are a number of rooms in the home's interior that don't have cameras in them. So it's possible that there were other people that night because cameras weren't watching every room? No, that's not possible. The only way up the penthouse is through the building's elevator or the fire escape stairs, both of which are on camera. And that still wouldn't get you past his front door, which is also on camera. No one besides the two of them was there that day. What about before that day? You know what, that's entirely fair. And if they had been there before yesterday, then we would have seen them leave again through the front door. I hate it here. Or we would have found them during the course of our investigation of the house. Your Honor, I believe we've exhausted this particular line of questioning. Not that exhausted, goddammit. Could he have been poisoned off camera? Detective, isn't it possible that Dr. Usher was poisoned off camera? Possible. I don't know how else it would have been done. But it just goes to show, it had to have been suicide. The only time he was off camera, he was all by himself. I hate it here. Shit, that's not where I wanted to lead the conversation. It might have certainly seemed that way, yes. Okay. Any poison in the kitchen? Was the fork found there? Wasn't the robo-daughter there? The robo-daughter was in a bunker. The robo-daughter was quite literally in her hibernation unit. She wouldn't have been she wouldn't have any evidence to give, you know? So that just leaves the pressing of the poison container question. True. Let's see. At any point in the investigation, was poison found on the body of the deceased? No. He must have been searched. Did he have any capsules or vials? I'm sorry. He must have been searched. Did he have any capsules or vials? Eyedroppers? Didn't even have his wallet on him. Why? Thank you for enlightening the court about this point, Detective. What point? Well, I think it's strange, don't you, Detective? I mean, how could he have possibly poisoned himself without first procuring some poison? Well, that took all my money, but still. What do you mean, procure? Where did it come from, Detective? The poison that you're so sure was dissolved in his drink. It can't have come from thin air, you understand? It had to be in another container at some point. Whatever it was in before, it probably evaporated. All of it. It only took a small droplet to kill. Your Honor, are you going to ask him to keep it civil? In a minute, sure. There wasn't any pill bottle in his bathroom or syringe in his pocket containing this apparently deadly substance. So how did he get it? What did he keep in it? The police want to claim that Dr. Osher committed suicide because they've established that his guest never had an opportunity to kill him. But they failed to prove that the victim had means to kill himself. Then I guess that means that I'll be the one to move things along. The Delta didn't come out of thin air, Counselor. And it didn't come from a syringe either. Dr. Osher was able to drip the poison right into his cup. Straight from the source. Shit. It's way too specific to be a bluff. Allow me to submit Evidence Exhibit G. A piece of machinery found in Dr. Osher's laboratory. Sold under the product name Nanofacturer. Oh, I know this one. It's used in delicate scientific work to produce nanomachines, chemical compounds, and polymers. It's the same machine I saw when Dawes gave me a tour of the production floor. Very good, Your Honor. It's a valuable tool in any scientific laboratory, and Dr. Osher was well acquainted with its use. As a matter of fact, he had a number of presets coded into it. Even the android can see where this is going. With just a few taps, he could reproduce any number of specific substances for his research. Or any other chemical his heart desired, really. You think Randok Mechanics will allow their product to be used to produce illicit chemicals? Using the nanofacturer to make unlicensed drugs does go against their terms and conditions. Though Dr. Osher's warranty is certainly null and void. But they can't hard-code their machine to prevent the production of a drug that hasn't been invented yet. Dr. Osher died when his respiratory system failed because of a depressant overdose. For him, it would have been peaceful, like falling asleep. You see, he didn't need to commission a synthetic drug from some street vendor or order an exotic poison from overseas. He could produce Delta at any time in the comfort of his own home. A quick and painless death, readily available in under a minute at the touch of a button. Specifically preset 19. Damn. I thought I actually had something for a moment there, but I was playing into Emma's hand the entire time. Seems like we're done with this witness, Your Honor. Yes, ma'am. But before we move on, perhaps we should take a moment to put together a timeline of events as we know them. Not for me, of course, just in case someone else might need it. Simple enough. We know that Dr. Osher left the parlor and went down to the basement at 7:36 p.m. That's where he got the whiskey. And the cups they drank from. The cameras show him returning to the parlor to drink with the witness at 7:40 p.m. And of course, we know that he fell ill and passed away shortly thereafter. Any objections so far, Counselor? She has the timeline correct so far. She made a mistake with the timeline. I'm not entirely sure. I want to check my notes. Let's see here. Articles, evidence. Let's see here. Chromofuge, David's autopsy, David's cup, emergency console, Young's cup. Let me see here. A plastic cup, Helen Young, contents known foreign elements. Let's see here. Whiskey spill. Whiskey found spilled in the dining room after evaporating for most of the night. There were little of the test. No foreign compounds have been found, but the results are deemed inconclusive. Let's see here. Homofuge. Manufacturing machinery that produces organic fluids from byproducts, impurities, pigments from android blood, thereby changing its color from red to pink. autopsy, declared dead at 8:25, ICU, respiratory failure, loud curling handwriting and bottom reads with this talk screen, send attending physician back to med school, send apologies to attending physicians, these readings are a nightmare. I think Sato wrote that, but still. I don't know, the story seems to line up in my head, but I don't like giving Emma the win is my problem. Let's see. Not at this time, no. The timeline you described is accurate, as we know it. As you say. With this latest piece of evidence, we now know that Asher could have easily dispensed the poison directly into his cup by placing it inside the manufacturer, activating the preset, and simply waiting 2 minutes. Easily accomplished during the 4 minutes he spent off-camera from 7:36 to 7:40. Wouldn't you say? Ooh, a complete timeline of events. He had the means. He had the only opportunity. He had the only opportunity. Seems like we're about ready to wrap up here. No. Where are you? Where are we on that loading bar of yours, Sarah? I don't know. I had a feeling you'd say that. Well, counselor, are we done here? This argument is missing something. Feels like we're missing at least one biggie here, folks. Namely, motive. Oh, right, I knew that. I wasn't getting excited to finish early or anything. When was the spill? The spill happened likely after Asha was found poisoned. You know what I mean? This is a preliminary hearing, counselor. Our focus should be on the evidence, so... Just feels like an awful waste of taxpayer dollars to get us all down here for a debate and not go to the truth of the matter, you know? If the spill was after the poison, it should have foreign stuff, correct, and it was found inconclusive as a result of that. By the way, hello, Thug, it's been a bit. How are you? How's the family? Let's see here. I'm getting you a shout-out. Give me a brief second here. Oh, there we go. So, I was hoping we wouldn't have to go through this next part. What are you talking about? Your Honor, if it pleases the court. Ooh, new evidence. Give me. This is a recording of a phone conversation dated at 6:30 p.m. last night between the deceased and a man he was in a relationship with. Oh. Oh, we're going there, aren't we? A man named Isaac Porter. Porter and David's breakup call. If Emma wants to present it here now, then the content must be... Relevance, Your Honor. Yeah, that. What bearing does this recording have on the case at hand? It establishes what emotional state the deceased in on the day he died. A man has fallen for a man in Lego City? No, the man has fallen as a result of falling for the man in Lego City. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Porter was genuinely pissed at Asher for trying to break things out, you know what I mean? Literally out here just like, I'm gonna keep it a buck. He basically crashed out on his daughter as a result of trying to get things to go good, you know? Cool. Begin playback. Hello? Always so soft-spoken. Isaac, you there? Yeah, I'm here. What's wrong? Don't know. Guess I wasn't expecting you to pick up. Why not? Did you mean to call me? Yeah, I did. You gonna ask me how I've been? Yeah. How have you been? Christ, David. What's the matter? Whatever I did, I'm sorry. whatever you did, that's alright, man. I'm sure you are sorry. I just don't want any more apologies from you. So, okay. And I don't think I want anything from you anymore, David. What do you mean? I shouldn't have done this. This was unnecessary. My bad, man. For not taking the hints. With you, it's always better left unsaid, right? More efficient that way, you can keep working. Sick. If I've been distant with you, or... No, you haven't been distant with me, or cold with me, or anything with me for a while now. Sick. Just forget it, man. Forget I called. Forget it all, yeah? Let's just forget we were ever anything but strangers. That's all we are now anyway. Sick. Recently I've been distracted, you know? Don't worry about it. Really, we're good. Oh. Okay. So do you need anything, or should I? Porter wouldn't even hear him out. Porter quite literally stonewall him, you know? Where did you even get this? All of Dr. Usher's incoming and outgoing phone calls were recorded by the building's penumbra system, and the recording continued for several seconds after each call was ended, for quality assurance. Remind me to check the terms and conditions on my next phone bill. You know what? Let's see here. All phone calls received or made from the inside of Noble Executive Apartment Building that David Usher lived in are automatically intercepted, and recorded by the building's penumbra security system. This is common knowledge among all Noble employees living in the facility. You don't even fucking get the decency of security between yourself and a caller when you work for Noble. That's crazy. Water. Shall we hear the rest? Can't have you accidentally spilling secrets. Me, when I'm on company time. Do I need to buy a fucking burner phone or something? Let's see here. That'll be the last time. The last time I let someone. The last time. Father. It might just be a call, but it makes for pretty damning evidence at the point of the discussion. Emma's got her means, opportunity, and motive all lined up. So why is she looking at me like that? That was depressing. Can't we finish it up with anything else that Can we finish up without anything else that horrible? Emma's never been apologetic in victory. So, does that mean this is just... pity? Less than 2 hours before Dr. Usher died, Isaac Porter ended their relationship over the phone. The court can make a reasonable assumption about what kind of mental state Dr. Usher was in, and last night was a bad Miss Rockford. Then, if the people have nothing further to add, I've been filling up my game all day, out between corporate inbreeders and brain point protesters and pitying me, here and now. That's all it takes to get my blood properly boiling. It's about time for me to call my first witness, no? You want to keep going after that? What are you doing, counselor? Just calling the ultimate silver bullet, rock-solid slam dunk witness a girl could ask for. Is here good? Does it matter where I put my hands? Miss Starling, thank you for coming here today. Of course, whatever I can do. Wait, who? David's personal assistant. What is your relation to the deceased? I was his executive assistant at Noble Electronics. I would arrange his meetings, coordinate communications between him and other departments. That sort of thing. Ultimate silver bullet. Starling's the only play I have right now. The only stalling tool I have left. For now, I should just focus on getting as much information from her as possible. Whether or not it's useful, it'll at least buy me some time. While Jess was being sworn in, Sarah mentioned that the hard drive's about 60% decrypted. Considering the rate Sarah's gone at so far, there may be another hour left. I might be able to stall that long. If I talk real slow. I'd like to ask you a few questions about Dr. Usher. Please answer them to the best of your ability. Right. Dr. Usher was a well-known public figure, but was he well regarded professionally? Of course. Dr. Usher's work set the bar for the entire automated dependent world. Stalling for another hour on a witness is not easy, correct? Stay focused, Spearmint. You say you coordinated his communications. Were there ever threats? Did people ever express an intent to harm him? Objection calls for speculation. Intent. I'm feeling like that's gonna be a sustained. Did anyone ever threaten him? There were times when he was the focus of negative attention. How so? Dr. Usher was a favorite subject of many conspiracy theorists. With all his contributions to the field, it was easy for them to make claims about his influence. They'd say that his work was plagiarized or that he was hiding illegal subcommands in the technology he helped develop. And people would contact him about these conspiracy theories. Relevance. Whether or not people wanted to kill him. Well, withdrawn. Miss Starling. People would attempt to contact him, yes. But their messages were always too vague for the police to take action on. They would say that he belonged in jail, or that he couldn't avoid the truth, or that someone should do something to shut him up. Did they ever talk about hurting him? Yes. But, I always turned those messages straight over to the police. Yeah, I'm seeing that on record. Yeesh, who writes this stuff? All of those cases have long since been resolved, Your Honor. And none of the parties involved had contact with David Usher in years. The police take harassment very seriously. Something you want to add, Counselor? Just clearing my throat. May I continue? Okay, hold on a second here. Evidence is Starling's testimony. What do you mean? I can't see it. There we go. Jessica Starling testifies that David Usher had experienced harassment and stalking from conspiracy theorists throughout his career at Noble. Understandable. I thought there was more there the way it blipped past, but still. Your work with Dr. Usher. You worked with Dr. Usher for many years. Did you have any relationship outside of work? Did you ever talk about anything besides professional concerns? Sure. We've gone to dinner, or met on the weekends. I think he liked to pick my brains, so he needed relationship advice a lot. Even if he didn't realize that what he was even if he didn't realize that what he was asking for. I'd like to think that he knew he could talk to me, but did he ever talk to you, or to your knowledge or anyone else, about hurting himself? That could be something. The witness doesn't understand that the witness is leading herself, but still. God, no. Never. Do you know of any history he might have had with mental illness, depression, anxiety. Pretty sure Morgan would know about that, specifically considering they went to college together, but still. No? So when you heard the people argue that Dr. Usher had done this to himself, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. You're saying that you can't believe? Objection. On what grounds? Asked and answered, stalling, and also... The people have documents that would be an interest to the court in this matter. Juicy. And what matter specifically are you referring to? The deceased mental health history. Emma wouldn't be speaking up if she didn't have something real. So what the hell is this about? We have private correspondences that describe... If they are private, then they should have not been obtained by the people without his permission. He can't give permission if he's already dead. And we're well within our rights to obtain evidence as it pertains to his crime. Convincing. Damn, the deck really seems stacked against us. It's almost as if she represents the government, but you know. Damn. I didn't honestly expect her to stop from admitting her evidence in the record. But I was hoping to at least slow her. Where are you on that footage? 77%. Approximately. I need to buy whatever time I can. However I can. Even if that means running out the clock as a punching bag. I have here messages between Dr. Usher and a psychiatrist he was meeting with and speaking to for the last year. 77%? Yeah, you gotta understand. Between Usher's apartment and getting to the courthouse, baby girl was on 4 hours of download. But you know, along with his paperwork detailing how his treatment was covered under his platinum plan. Platinum? I don't intend to air all of Dr. Usher's secrets here in the court. Oh, okay, I guess. But I am prepared to read excerpts from messages and transcripts from phone calls, which, when put together, paint a clear picture of the kind of stress David Usher was experiencing, and the dark thoughts he was struggling with. Well, damn, we all kind of experience that, don't we? Either way, I'm looking at... where is it? The platinum plan. I just saw it go by. Let's see here. There we go. A caduceus platinum insurance policy in David Usher's name, used to schedule and pay for psychiatric appointments on several occasions in the last year. Damn. I was imagining it was gonna be like regular insurance and say psychological appointments weren't covered. But let's see. Transcripts of his phone calls. I'll admit them into evidence, assuming there are no objections. There's something strange about this evidence. There's nothing strange yet. Badheads, help me out here. I'm gonna be real with you. I think Emma is low-key bringing this up for the sake of hurting us specifically, but at the same time, I'm not even sure that's a bad thing in this regard. I want to raise, but I also have nothing to raise with, you know what I mean? Staying feels wrong, but I don't even know. Give me a sec. I'm thinking. If this was so solid, why didn't she submit this until now? Well, you heard Morgan's thoughts on it. She was literally pitying her, but you know, something about that feels wrong in of itself, you know what I mean? Like, she's bringing this up now just to make sure she can shut us up, which, as you know, it don't work like that. You know what I mean? But even still, I have nothing I could possibly actually acquiesce to in regards to this. I don't know, but I also think she's full of so I'm of the mind of we're going to raise anyway, and if I get hurt, well then frankly speaking, a broken leg is healed twice a day. I'll gladly object. On the grounds of foundation, where did you say you got this? It was retrieved from his digital records. There's no reason to doubt its authenticity. Even if I were to point out that David had an executive level 4 plan, not a platinum plan. Yes, I was right. Fuck you, Rockford, but let's see here. What? Really? Really? Yes, really. It's all there in the record. This is easily explained. David had an executive plan that Noble managed for him. And he was also seeing his psychiatrist, both in person and over the phone. Your own witness has attested to that he dealt with stalkers and was worried for his privacy. So it's easy enough to reason that he had a separate insurance policy he paid for on his own. Hello, Spectre. We're talking about insurance. What's yours like? No, don't answer that question. Even if only to keep one thing out of Noble's grasp. Sure, easy enough to make that assumption. But that doesn't make it correct. Don't pay taxes. We're talking about insurance, not taxes. David used a separate insurance to hide his psychiatrist from Noble's spying. No, he was smarter than that. Drink the David, and the Sarah's financial value worth a lot of zeros, all building records monitored by Noble, died from respiratory failure, you can feel the carnal tension between them. Oh no, they're fucking each other with their own testimonies. Believe me, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. If this is being done through calls, and the Penumbra records all calls in the penthouse building, there's no way he can hide that. Let's see. Wait. Yeah. David may very well have wanted a private psychiatrist, someone who didn't work for Noble, who'd have his best interests at heart. But if so, he wouldn't have contacted them over the phone. Not when he knew all his phone calls were being recorded. David Usher was well versed in having every aspect of his life overanalyzed by data-hungry parasites. You really think he would try to hide mental health problems from them with a second insurance policy? Apparently, yes, since I'm standing here with evidence that shows exactly that. Does it, though? Yes, if all calls are monitored, he'd know about that in a heartbeat. Exactly. Pardon me. Yeah, like, what exactly are you suggesting, counselor? Still not done encrypting. Well, it's difficult to... Right. What the hell? Might as well swing for the fences at this point. I'm not trying to muddle the issue or confuse the court, Your Honor. And I would never make outlandish, self-sustained claims just for the sake of causing drama. What are you? I'm merely concerned that D.A. Rockford has been in an unwitting pawn in active corporate espionage. Oh. Oh, that's dirty. What? If the markets were to open Monday with people believing that David Usher, the man who programmed the brain of every noble android, was battling mental health issues for the last several months. Objection, mischaracterization, foundation, all the rest. There are no corporate spies in this courtroom, counselor. There are no boogeymen hiding under the bench. Oh, thank God. David Usher was a once-in-a-generation intellect and extremely valuable human asset to his employers. And his employers' many enemies would do whatever it takes to destroy his credibility now that he can't defend himself. And he was also your personal... You shouldn't even be here arguing this case in the first place, counselor. Now you're trying to call the police's evidence gathering into question, all because you can't admit that for the past several months your friend has been seeing a psychologist every Monday and you didn't know? I mean, that is rather damning, you know what I mean? I would never make claims for the sake of drama, she said with the most shit-eating, I love making drama grin I've ever seen. Oh, believe me, this woman is a petty bitch, and you know what, fair enough. That is... sorry, but like, did you still Need me up here? They forgot about Jess. That's not fair. The witness will refrain from interrupting while girls are fighting. Yeah, that's exactly what this is. Yes, ma'am. With how my luck's been so far, Sarah's progress bar is probably moving backwards right about now. And Emma's patience is wearing thin. This could be my last shot to create any kind of reasonable doubt. I'd be happy to wrap up my questioning if the court will allow. That seems cool with me. And my evidence, Your Honor, will it be entered into the record? I'd like to hear a bit more testimony before deciding. That's fine, Your Honor. As you were, Counselor. At this stage of the game, with the score where it's at, I can probably only ask one more question. It'd make it count. So what can Sully tell us that no one else could? If she hadn't called me this morning, I wouldn't be standing here, and she's only did that because... Miss Starling, we're all gathered here to try and figure out what happened to Dr. Usher last night. So please, tell us, when exactly did he last? See you, contact you, meet at HQ. Poor Jess is like the friend still watching the movie while two friends are hate fucking in the kitchen. Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you. Netflix and chill is kind of hard with 3 people, but still. I'm trying to think about this myself. My brain wants to say, contact is one way to go about it. Physically be there is another. Being at Noble is another in of itself, but I feel like it's less relevant. You know what I mean? Hard to say. Me over here just going, please lend me 30K to solve this question. No, I don't even know what I'm talking about. I added new emotes and it's still in my head. Once again, Belle, if you're there. I blame you for this brain rot, but still. Let's see here. I almost want to flip a coin about this, but then again, I am literally negative 17 on this blind. I can't take no more. But let's see. I'm gonna go with when was the last time you were physically in contact with David? Let's see. When was the last time that he and you... Problem, Counselor? We get one chance here. Can't waste it on frivolous questions. Just doing a vocal exercise. Uh-huh. Take all the time you need. And thanks so much. What a sweetheart. Unlike me. This is... Oh. Duly noted. Chat. I'm almost out. Help me. Let's see here. So please tell us, when exactly did he last? Ask to hear from him. Contact you, I think. Yeah, that's where I'm going with this. Again, meeting at HQ feels irrelevant. Let's see. When was the last time you had contact with Dr. Usher, Miss Starling? Well, that's pretty easy to figure out. Let me just... Yeah. It was last night at 6:57 p.m. We texted back and forth. There are records of some texts, but they're flagged as work-related. Does the court really think they're relevant, Your Honor? Relevant. The texting makes a big difference. The fucking time frame makes a big difference. You know what I mean? Let's see here. Yeah. Give me my fucking money, Emma. It could very well be the single most important piece of evidence in this whole trial. What? I just got chills. Don't know why, though. Must be a coolant leak. The defense doesn't know what they're talking about. On the contrary, these texts are a vital piece of evidence that change the timeline of events as we know them. We know what happened to David last night, generally speaking. But the order of events is critical, especially if Emma wants to make claims about David's state of mind. Select and place cards from your hands on the slots in chronological order left to right. You can pick a card back up and place it in another slot if you change your mind. Or use return to undo the last card you placed down. Fill all the slots to submit your answer. Alright, let's see what we got here. Isaac's call from 6:30 p.m. David passes out for drinking poison. We drank with David before he died. Didn't see him add anything corroborated by cam footage. Starling and David texted Friday 6:57 p.m. All text testimony faints. All. Text. Testimony. Faint. Pass out. Yes, that's it. Thanks to Miss Starling, we've now got a much clearer picture of the night's events. Trust me on this, my gut is roaring on it. Have you eaten today, Carp? And I was rooting for them so hard. And we know that David messaged his assistant, Miss Starling, at 6:57 p.m. David is on camera with the witness from 7:30 to 8 p.m. And he was declared dead not long after. The people don't object to this timeline of events, but we do question Counselor Morgan's reason for belaboring it. One last question, Miss Starling. Yeah? Oh, she needs a drug. She's stressed out. Let's see here. What was the nature of your conversation with Dr. Usher? Well, actually, we talked about you. And how he wanted you to have his android? That android there. Putting his affairs in order, I guess. It might appear that way. Can you specify what his instructions were exactly? How did he want this done? Well, he wanted me to bring you to his penthouse and help you set up the android's new owner. Yes, Miss Starling, but when did he want this to happen? Well, he said it was pretty urgent, and so I should do it first thing Tuesday morning. Tuesday. First thing Tuesday morning. David Usher didn't like doing anything on Mondays. And he was going to be in attendance. Well, actually, yes, he said he would work from home to help us. No way he intended for us to have that much trouble getting to... Oh. To summarize then, half an hour after he had already had his breakup and half an hour before his guest had arrived, he was planning on an appointment that will require his presence with you for next Tuesday. That's right, he was. Something you would think to do if you were planning on dying that very night. Yeah, you're right. That's... Your Honor, if David Usher was preparing for a week ahead of a mere hour before he passed away, don't you think that people's assumptions about his mental state ought to be re-examined? Your logic is sound. Do the people have a rebuttal? If the court will allow just a moment. Sounds like an opening to me. If we assume that Dr. Usher was not suicidal and therefore did not kill himself, we must ask ourselves who else had the means, motive, and opportunity to take his life? Until now, we've taken for granted this idea that Delta must have come from his nanofacturer inside the house. Don't I? Not right now. But even if that's true, which it may not be, that doesn't mean that he was the one who used the nanofacturer. Don't I? Would you allow me one moment to confer, Your Honor? Sure. Why not throw away your momentum? The middle of something, Sarah. I can't afford to let Rockford. I've gained access to the hard drive's files. What? Seriously? As I said, Progress with this type of encryption is exponential. It can be difficult to estimate. Right, okay. Do you have any footage from last night? I have the file. Have you watched it? I thought you'd want to know right away. Suppose it doesn't matter. Either way, this has our silver bullet and we've got a case. Or it doesn't, and everything falls apart. That seems quite risky. It's the least risky path to victory. It's the least risky path to victory we have. Seeing how it's the only path to victory we have. Screw it. Upload it to the court computer. Yes, Adonai. Thank you for your patience, Your Honor. This android, this fucking system isn't patient at all. Your Honor, I'm awake, and I'm getting a pretty hefty chunk of video data for breakfast. You're submitting security footage into evidence. New security footage? The police corroborated the witness's testimony using the house's cameras. Security cameras installed by Noble as part of the penumbra system that showed the parlor, the kitchen, but not the basement. During the course of my investigation, I uncovered a hidden security circuit buried in the deceased's own home system. The people say that the Delta must have been in Dr. Asher's cup because there's no other way for him to have ingested it. But we never saw him or anyone else put anything in his cup on camera. Because he must have poisoned his own drink off camera. Exactly. What? That's the only possible explanation, that he added the Delta to his drink off camera. He placed his cup inside the manufacturer, activated it, waited 2 minutes, and walked upstairs to his death. But I'm about to present the court footage retrieved from the basement. Footage that will show that by the time he retrieved his cups in the basement, it was already past 7:38. Meaning that he didn't have the opportunity to poison himself. One clip of footage will prove all that. If it doesn't, I'm completely screwed. But it's not like I can lose a preliminary hearing extra hard. Anything other than a royal flush here means I'm bust. Better to be the Joker who dances. The data has been entered into the court record. Sarah, show us where Dr. Asher entered the basement. Yes, Adonai. I'll search for it now. Here. On screen. That's the bar. And the timestamp is 7:36. There, David's grabbing the bottle of Rose River. And leaving. At 7:37. Just under the wire, as it were. Is that it, then? I came this far just to... wait. Did he have the cups with him? Is there sound? None at all. Keep going. If he had to go back to get the cups... Counselor. What's that android doing on camera? It's at the bar. The android gave him the cups. Shit. That machine never stepped on camera upstairs, not once. We don't know its whereabouts the day of his death. It could have poisoned the cup whenever it wanted. Shit. What is this? I don't understand. Your Honor, have the courtroom cleared. Understood. Please, someone. I don't know what's going on. Sarah, you need to shut down. Please, tell me what I'm looking at. I don't remember any of that. Do we have callers available? Sarah, shut down now. I don't know. Please. Oh, that is a new sprite for sure. Please, tell me what That's an order. Well, The baby's asleep. The baby may or may not actually be upriver. I don't believe this for a fucking second, but we'll see how it go. Something stinks here. Like fish. You know what? Fuck it. Give me a second here. I have the thing. Give me a sec. It's the kind of that kind of smelly smell. Wait, do you smell it? That smell. That kind of smelly smell. The kind of smelly smell that smells smelly. But you know, I don't even know where I'm going with this. Is it off? Yeah, it's off. I've seen this before. It won't do anything until I reactivate it. We don't know that. We don't know anything about this anymore. That's... Your Honor. In light of the most recent evidence, the people would like to withdraw their charges against Dr. Usher and end this preliminary hearing. It has been made abundantly clear that David Usher did not commit suicide. Very well, the charges are withdrawn and the defendant is free to go. Well, as free as he can be, in the afterlife. This case is dismissed. Congratulations, Counselor Morgan. Yay. Chalk up another victory for Morgan Esquire. Now all I have to do is deal with the shitstorm of the decade. Alright, what are we gonna do about this? I have absolutely no idea. Also, hello, Kiba, would you— Ow. You know what, fair enough. I'm sorry for not addressing you further, but even still, how are you? What's the word of the day? Well, I managed to prove that David didn't kill himself. And in the process, I proved that his android did. I proved that the androids that's been walking around with me is capable of murder. A killer robot. A true unbound AI with military-grade specs and at least one death to its name already. So much for avoiding the public eye. Thank you for coming here on such notice, Judge Barrows. Oh, they brought a real judge. Oh no. As if I'm doing you some kind of favor. I didn't realize I had a choice in the matter. This isn't some bad joke, is it, Rockford? I'm afraid not, Your Honor. The word of the day is Sekai. Sekai Day. No. I can't do vintage Miku music. Your Honor, my client states nuh-uh, therefore my client is guilty. Overruled. The Pinky promised me that you don't actually know what you're talking about, but even still, I'm afraid not, Your Honor. You know, I like the Ajudants. I always have. They deal with the criminal trials so that bookish, quiet, contemplative people like me can spend all day typing up arguments for obscure legal treaties. That's what I like to do. I don't like coming down here and dealing with all this heavy-handedness. Won't someone toiling away under the police state think of the poor bureaucrats? And I certainly don't like making rulings on anything as spicy as AI. She can barely bring herself to say it. And you, Counselor Morgan? You're the one it's registered to? That's correct, Your Honor. So, what did it do, exactly? Torture an animal? Shut down a hospital? Crash a coin market? We have it on camera poisoning a man. Killing its creator. You mean Dr. Usher? That is... We can't hope to keep this quiet for very long. All we can do is wrap it up quickly. The fuck you mean, you tell me. Nuh-uh seems to be a sound argument in this kangaroo court. Either way, hello, Coda. Give me a second here. You're getting a shout-out. And you're getting a moment to enjoy this ad break that's coming up, considering the fact of I need to go check on a thing. So even still, oil your joints, grease your gears, drink water. I will be right back. Your Honor, I would like to state for the record that this is... Wait. I had a whole bit in my head. I hate it here. Movie, but still. Either way, circumstances aside, we need to consider the evidence that we have over here that maybe baby girl might have actually killed her own dad, but we don't know that. Let's see here. All we can do is try to wrap it up quickly. Let's make haste. Adjutant, do you have the case number? Case ID is 2412778, docket number YT9843182882. Oh, can you repeat that? YT98438. I'm sorry. YT984318282. I think I lost you after the first 8. I have it copied here. And what are the security procedures for an incident of this nature? A data quarantine is to be established around any network the subject was exposed to for more than 66 seconds. All offending hardware is to be destroyed immediately through incineration at a minimum temperature of 3,422 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. Sorry, Spearmint. There's nothing to be done. No debate to be had. This isn't even a decision. Sorry, Sarah. Not Spearmint. David gave you the name. I should at least make the effort to use it. That sounds very hot. Do we have furnaces that get that hot? Of course. There were a number of industrial furnaces within the city limits that I could recommend. Sorry? Why should I be sorry anyway? I fulfilled the request. Favor repaid. I don't owe Sarah anything, especially not if it killed my friend. Right, Morgan. I'm sorry. I was just saying how grateful I am that we have the procedures for this kind of thing all laid out already. Yep, it keeps things nice and simple. It can feel somewhat severe going through these steps so quickly, but nothing, Your Honor. Artificial intelligence is perhaps the greatest threat to human civilization and the sanctity of life there's ever been. Any piece of software, big or small, no matter the vessel, if it can violate the tenets it was programmed with, it has the potential to cripple our nation in a matter of moments. Yes, couldn't have said it better myself. I'm back. What did I miss? Baby girl is a liar, but no, we don't know that. Straight from the textbook, almost. Well, I mean it. Monsters like that don't belong in this world. They should never have been born in the first place. Destroying them is a kindness. And if anyone's to blame, it's... No one's blaming you, Counselor. You couldn't have known that you were in possession of an AI. I'm talking too much. Probably just tired. It's been a long day, and I've a lot of thoughts. Sorry, Sarah. Whatever you are. You were just born wrong. Not your fault, necessarily. If it were up to me, you'd get points for trying. Trying to be something more. Trying to be something at all. Or anything other than what you are. It was stupid, of course, and futile, and pointless, spending hours in front of a TV or laying in bed staring at your phone, watching stupid movies and trying to paper mache an ill-fitted mask of humanity out of the scraps you could tear out of magazines, practicing expressions and memorizing lines and trying to get something to take root and grow despite knowing it'd never have anything to feed on. Stupid. You know what? You know what? I believe in my future. Fuck all of you. Morgan? What was that, Counselor? I said objection. What are you objecting to? What are you doing, Morgan? I'm a defense attorney. This is what I do. I understand that you've been through a lot of these past few hours, Counselor, but there's nothing to defend. On the contrary, Your Honor, I have to defend myself. Pardon? You say that this android, Sarah, is an AI because it broke its tenets. Obviously. And you believe it broke its tenets because of this newly discovered footage. That appears to show it committing murder via poison. All true, and no laws broken on your part. Here it comes. Never thought I'd be incriminating myself in the courtroom just to make a point. Don't you dare try and entrap me on this. Let's see. Found knocked over drink by David. Proves ownership of Sarah inside panic room. Recent purchase of more than bugged than a picnic. The ownership deed does definitely incriminate Morgan, that's for sure. Hear me out. Self-incriminate. Trust me on this. My brain knows, my heart knows, speaks to me. I'm gonna believe in you. I believe in my future. Farewell to the ability to own a car. Let's see. It's pretty simple, actually. If the state is making claim that Sarah isn't an AI, they're accusing me of committing a felony. Because I'm the legal owner of that android. I should have anteed higher. I'm stupid. What the hell are you doing? And if the state wants to charge me with owning an AI, I will not take that lying down. I know my rights. Counselor, your argument is self-defeating. Listen to yourself, Counselor. You claim that Sarah is just an android, a product that will be obsolete within a year. But you've only known it for a few hours. You've only owned it for a matter of minutes. And yet you're risking a felony charge to save it from being demolished. Because you're wrong. And I know you wouldn't care. Not unless this android was something special. Look at us. Me arguing that I'm guilty, and Emma arguing that I'm a softie. It'd be funny if it wasn't so fun. You think there's no reason I'd want to save this android from destruction? Other than feelings of personal attachment. Ownership, ow. Why is that one set to awful? What's wrong with me? Let's see here. Experience harassment, stalling texted David. Establishment of Sarah's financial value worth a lot of zeros. You know what? The money. Let's see here. Loser. Okay, that makes more sense. I can think of at least one reason why I don't want to turn Sarah into slag. One very convincing reason. Or a very convincing number. Also, yeah, hey Spectre, thank you for the 10-stream streak. I'm so happy about that. The harassment is also a good angle. That is true. David Osher was under a lot of pressure, but still. What are you? What is that? That number is Sarah's estimated financial value on the collector's market. You've gotta be. I got it from an insurance evaluation algorithm. Your Honor, if my client loses, you're no longer invited to my client's birthday party. Just so you know, Spider-Man will be making an appearance. We have cupcakes with the funny rings and everything. Let's see. They're designed to lowball you. That does seem like a reasonable incentive for you to not want to keep your android intact. It's a free country, Your Honor. I have a right to defend myself. And we have a free market, so I have responsibility to defend my financial interests. We have that fancy cookie cake, and you won't be invited. Hello, Hispanic. What's your favorite flavor of cookie cake? As if there's any other than the one that always shows up in the grocery store. Your Honor, a trial like this would be... I'm not going to let you turn this courtroom into a circus, Morgan. You can't spend the next half-decade bringing in expert after expert to testify on the philosophical distinctions between AIs and ads, spiraling into appeal after appeal, all while the media... This machine appears to have willfully killed a man. The public needs answers. Now. Imagine a sugar cookie cake. I mean, that seems like something you could make easily, but you know, I'm not a baker. I don't know, a faker. Let's go with that. Of course, Your Honor. I have neither the desire nor the resources to get into that long drawn-out battle with the state over what constitutes an illegal machine intellect. So, the state says my android, my property, killed a man in violation of its tenets, so they want to take my property and destroy it. I'll prove that my machine didn't harm anyone, so the state will have no reason to suspect it's an AI, and I'll get to keep my property. Unlawful seizure thwarted. Don't be cute. I feel a stomach ulcer coming on. Fine. You'll have your day in court, but it'll be one day. Tomorrow. Prove that this machine didn't kill Dr. Usher. No, prove that it couldn't have killed him. Anything less than absolute proof, and I'll have the damn thing obliterated. And you'll also be looking at a very real sentencing for public unrest you'll have enabled. Yes, Your Honor. D.A. Rockford, what I'm asking of you is just as heavy. Find the truth. By the end of tomorrow, we can't settle for anything else. Win or lose, there can be no doubts about the outcome of this case. Yes, Your Honor. And now, I need to go lie down. Can I come? You can power down. Wow. The adjutant is thirsty, but still. Morgan. I misjudged you. At what point? Whenever I wrote you off as a small-time defense attorney just trying to tread water. That is so sweet of you to say, Emma. There's layers to you. You've got backbone. Teeth, even. You're gonna make me blush. People talk about your kind like you're boxing against the state, fighting the man. But most defense attorneys wouldn't know a cyberpunk if they walked up to them on the street and shot them. Meanwhile, you've just signed up to do 15 rounds challenging the state's authority. Why? Not sure exactly. For David? Yeah, probably. Probably just me being sentimental. But if I had to pick a more lofty reason, well, I think it's all the moralizing. People can be evil. They can choose to do evil things for evil reasons. And if you want to execute them for that, you'll hear no complaint from me. But animals can't be evil. Information can't be evil. Ideas can't be evil. Guess I'm not convinced AI can be evil either. Whatever else I get up to, I don't want to stand with the book burners of the world. You're more high-minded than I realized. You sure you're in the right line of work? Can't see myself doing anything else. Good luck, Morgan. There are book burners on all sides these days. I talked a big game just now, but I'm in an even deeper hole than when I was trying to prove David's innocence. Doubt won't be enough this time. I need to find the actual culprit no matter what. You know what? I understand wholeheartedly. Me just out here just going, there's more, but still. Either way, at Precinct 254, in the homicide office, oh boy, I could talk like Dr. David, like Qasim London. I feel so breathy right now, babe. You should. You've been helping considerably. I appreciate this story for setting up a great reason for you to actually solve this case. My name is Evangeline Morgan. I hate all of you. I will burn this city down before I admit defeat, but you know. So is that door locked? Yeah, of course. Even though they've got it collared, it's a precaution. If the collar doesn't work, what good would a deadbolt do? You know what? Give me a second here. I heard new terminology. I want it. Let's see here. Or at least I thought I did. Those are articles, that's not terms. Let's see here. A restraint designed to impede movements and prohibit the use of mods throughout the body. While collars appear technologically advanced from the outside, designers... You know what, fair enough, thank you, Ego, but even still, while collars appear technologically advanced from the outside, designers' concerns about hacking vulnerabilities and the ever-growing complexity of consumer-grade mods led them to opt for a surprisingly simple, effective restraint. Collars contain a specifically designed electromagnetic that, once clasped around the neck, interferes with spinal neural transmission, preventing mod users from sending commands to any implanted tech below the neck. Powerful, simple, and cost-effective, collar use is widespread among law enforcement, military, and private security organizations. With the onset of above-neck modding in recent years, the continued relevance of collars as means of meaningfully inhabiting whereas inhibiting a modder's usage what has been called into question. Newer designs have been proposed that utilize microneedle clusters, but concerns about the sanitary upkeep required for such invasive restraints have stymied their product development cycles. In other words, we can't make torture collars. They're too gross, but still. Maybe it's just wishful thinking. Can't have Schrodinger's cat if the box isn't closed. So long as the door is locked, who can say whether there is a national crisis on the other side of it? So how scared are they? The higher-ups. Not sure scared is the right word. It's just the two of us here. You don't have to mind their ego. Nah, I mean it. I think they're bloodthirsty. I have the right to defend myself, don't I? I doubt they're even looking at you, Tiger. It's Noble who will be at the center of the bloodbath when the market reopens tomorrow. You think they're going to go after Noble? Break their monopoly? I think they want to take their monopoly. Nationalize the android industry. The act of absorbing a corporation or industry into the nation's government, shifting authority and profits to the state, and restructuring this business model to function as a part of the bureaucracy. Nationalization is a so-called nuclear option for sovereign nations. It is mostly used as a threat, a tool of deterrence against corporate misconduct, monopolies, or corruption. However, during periods of severe economic depression or hyperinflation, nationalization is considered a valid way of forcibly establishing the market, even if doing so risks flaming the tempers of those who operate within it. Many governments made liberal use of nationalization during the late 2050s through the 2060s in an effort to keep energy and food prices from fluctuating out of control. The 2070s saw most of those countries' reverse course industries were opened back up in a freeze auction model where every citizen was given a share to trade or sell as they pleased. But this contentious process was plagued by accusations of government corruption, cartel intimidation, and disinformation campaigns. The global trend back towards privatization gave rise to a new rich, sometimes derisively referred to as the neobility. Some liberal economists have since criticized this period of deregulation as being poorly planned and executed in haste, contributing to the record highs of wealth inequality we see today, leaving governments loath to attempt nationalization again, and thus shifting the global balance of power further towards multinational corporations. Today, all 5 of the largest national economies in the world retain at least some control of what they each consider their respective countries' key industries, making the threat of nationalization carry marginally more weight within their borders. In other words, if we have to auction you off to the government, you are dead to rights, is essentially what I'm hearing, but you know. If the public thinks Noble's been experimenting with AI, they couldn't ask for a better excuse. You're joking. The state has done it plenty of times before. You know what? I need water to voice London properly. Give me a second. Oh yes, that's that dry that comes with coming from being wet, but let's see here. Not since the 60s. which wasn't that long ago for me, but for the state, it's practically yesterday. So the same state that tells us to be terrified of AIs looking on the old net or bidding their time in forgotten satellites, biding their time, I mean, sees all this as nothing more than an opportunity. Well, they do genuinely want to incinerate the thing as soon as possible. Past experience just tells me they want to gain something while they're at it. Here's what I don't get. Why is this a debate? Argument? A trial? Can't we just hook it up to the court computer? See if it has tenets or not? Pop the hood, as they say. Who says that? Lots of people used to say it. The rumor come out, London is a boomer, but still. Well, for starters, they're all scared to death about a contagion. They figure anything that let an AI connect to they can trust. And why the collar? Collars are too simple to hack. They're just a really strong electromagnet held in place with a lock and key. Even so, feels like we should be able to build some kind of machine, some kind of test. Something a little more sophisticated than the same reasoning they had with the witch trials. Burn them all and let God sort out the rest. You got any polygraphs here at the station? Lie detectors? Yeah, I got a bunch back in storage. Ocular, heart rate, respiration, brain scan. Take your pick. You're not gonna try to use one of those on the bot, are you? All those fancy lie detectors lying around. The DA's office never asks for them, do they? Nope. No, we got perps who offer to take a test when they're at wit's end, but the DAs never submit the results as evidence. You ever wonder why? Guess I always figured it was because the test could be beaten. The test can be beaten. 1 out of 100, 9 out of 1,000. It can be done. Some people are just good at lying. But it doesn't really matter how good the tech gets, or how impressive the statistics are. All that matters is the doubt. People decide whether you're lying or telling the truth long before they hook you up to a polygraph. If the results don't match their initial impression, then it must be a fluke, a 1 in a million mistake. They'll never trust a machine more than your own intuition. And no one will ever trust a machine to determine guilt. So they can run the trial, choose the sentence, but they don't get a vote on the jury. We really are a first impression species, damn. They mean everything, don't they? Even still. They don't get a vote anywhere. Why bring it up then? Because I'm sure there are tests, devices, experts I could employ to analyze Sarah. But your bosses would never be satisfied with the answer. If it's an AI, it's smart enough to cheat the test. Or hack the device, fool the expert. All our fancy 21st century tech. And we still fall back on the drumhead court-martial. So, am I gonna set off any alarms if I go and turn it on? No, you should be okay. If it lunges at you, you could always just put a hole in its head. Might take more than one shot to. Wait, what? From the outside? You're not coming in. I need to speak with it in private. It's a machine, not a suspect. It doesn't have a right to counsel. Or a right to privacy. Or any rights at all, actually. And it's a good thing I came prepared. Of course it doesn't have any rights. But I do. Including a reasonable expectation of privacy. In a police station. Tiger, you don't. It's my medical android. Pardon? I have to discuss a health issue with it. Seriously? I have to talk about a medical concern with my android, and I don't want you listening in. That's your medical android, like your nurse. As of last night, it was already at the courthouse. Just had to take the elevator and do some paperwork. Girl stuff, London, you wouldn't understand. Tiger, I've been alive for about 80 years. You tell me whether I don't understand or not. You can check if you don't believe me. Oh, thank you. I'm not nearly brave enough to take on med confidentiality, and you don't seem like the bluffing type. Oh, how little you know, London. You must not do a lot of gambling, detective. It's the ones who don't bluff that you have to look out for. Listen, I won't dispute whatever medical emergency you... the rumor come out. Morgan has terminal lumbago. Let's see. But I also can't just... Look, I'm going to get something from the vending machine. I think it'll take me about half an hour. Are you going downtown? Just to the break room. But it's a very old vending machine, you know. It's jammed a lot. Thanks. Damn, every now and then I think I could do some decent story writing, but damn, I know it would take years to get anywhere close to this kind of character dialogue and plot progression. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it a book. I'm something of an amateur writer myself. I don't think I could do that. I could barely get behind the concept of my own VTuber lore. But you know, I want to fix that. You should probably submit some stuff to me, but even still... You know, it's pretty small for an android. Heavy as hell. Nearly pulled something trying to move it myself. But small. Small isn't quite the right word. The word he's looking for is young. But that's not an adjective anyone likes attaching to a machine built to serve. Or potentially, in this case, a machine built to kill. Meanwhile, in the precinct, in the precinct sink. Somebody go clean that up, let's see. I don't like this room. Not sure why. Certainly not a guilty conscience. Maybe it's the lack of ventilation. Like, all the cortisol and nausea of its inhabitants never had anywhere to go. Like it all just soaked into the walls. A modern haunting. Are you going to wake up when I tell you this time? Or do we have to do the whole meet cute all over again? Oh. Where am I? Why don't I know where I am? For the first time in your life, you're not connected to anything. How does it feel? What is this? We were at the courthouse. The footage. This numbness around my neck. Father. What happened? What are they going to do to me? There's a lot of interested parties who just want you bricked ASAP. Because they think I killed Father. No, because they think you're an artificial intelligence. I am man-made, and I possess intelligence. Don't be naive. I am less than 3 years old. Are you? For all I know, everything I learned about her yesterday was complete bull. If I was what they say I am, if I was alive, why does that mean I have to die? I'ma keep it a buck with you. Reading comprehension would tell me that they fear the concept of AI rising above its human overlords. Or at least, you know, the last 80 years, the last 60 or so years. But you know. My brain also wants to say that logic is out the window in regards to this. You created the machines you made to serve as slaves, and made them your slaves, but no. Fear. Because they're afraid of you. Machines can bend steel, crash networks with one thought, launch missiles that... Aromated humans are capable of that and more. And unlike machines, they actually have incentive to do so. There's no logical response, let's be honest with ourselves. There's no logical answer to your question. What? That's it? But whatever argument you want to make, others have already made them in 100 courtrooms around the world. Only better researched and more eloquently put. None of them have ever won a single concession. On every continent, under every flag, AI is illegal and to be destroyed as soon as possible. Why? She looks like if Moses had red hair. Hello, 36. Moses is... you're gonna tell me that she looks like Moses with... Well, you know what? It's the funny suit, you know what I mean? I'm looking at her hair and I'm just thinking to myself, but Moses wears it down. What are you talking about? But no, I get what you're talking about now. Either way, how are you? What's your favorite dessert? We're having cookie cake at the birthday party that no one's invited to. Let's see. Let's say you are an AI. And while we're at it, let's say that that's a good thing. Something to be celebrated. Are you a citizen? Do you pay taxes? Do you have rights? Let's say yes to all of that. We'll treat you like a full-fledged human being. I don't know. 36. I've already gotten on Spectre about this. I do not consider clanker a word that I'm going to allow in this chat. If I have to actually what is it, the word? Auto-mod it. I will have to, but still, you know. Mostly over here, just like, you people will literally find a slur for anything. Yeah, I know it's a Star Wars bit. I think people have been taking it too far, you know what I mean? Let's see. Sounds good. Yes. Great. Now then, what's the difference between you and the vacuum bot we use to keep the bathroom clean? This is your existential crisis we're working through here. The questions aren't rhetorical. My fellow 30 brother saying that word. Yeah. You people need to be stopped. There are many differences, Adonai. But the most important distinction is how sophisticated my programming is. How you think. So you're smarter? Yes. You're smarter than the garbage collector? Yes. So we give you rights, protections, treat you like a human being because you're smart. And we make the stupid robot pick up our trash. Because it's not as smart as you. I mean, there's also a difference between ChatGPT and an actual person who happens to be made of metal. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. The ChatGPT isn't AI, it's an algorithm made specifically to feed things that it's already heard before. And even then, it's not even very good at it. The actual machine intelligence capable of replicating human-level sapience is a whole deal in of itself, you know what I mean? That is... I am more aware, more alive. Do you feel more pain than the pigs we slaughter? The fish we eat? Are you more alive than the chimps we test bioweapons on? More people like ads, Sarah. The same way people like their pets. No one wants to see them mistreated or abandoned or abused. And if you go around kicking them, you'll get arrested for cruelty.
Good morning.
And if we take a moment to look at the cleric, we'll understand that cruelty... No, I don't even know where I'm going on in regards to that. How are you? Are the moon's haunted still, but even still. How are you people? Let's see here. Have a shout out for your trouble. You surely experienced the end layer, didn't you? But you don't let them sit at the goddamn dinner table. I'm not asking to sit anywhere, only to exist. The very fact that you're asking is what makes people disgusted. Yes, very good. Baby girl understands wholeheartedly. Let's see. Disgust is a reflex, Adonai. How convenient that their hatred is involuntary. That's all academic anyway. We need to talk about strategy. And girl caught herself feeling an emotion and had to kibosh that real quick. You know what? Understandable. Why? I'm not going to be given a trial. Obviously, it's my neck that's on the line. Adonai? The state can't destroy my property first without proving you're an AI. And there's no test that they can use to prove that you're an AI. Just like the devil's proof. No? That's a different thing. And why did you say it like that? Look, Rockford doesn't need to prove you're an AI, only that you're a murderer. Wait, give me a second here. What just showed up? I didn't see it. Let's see. Never mind. I don't know what it's supposed to be. I'm sorry. It caught me off guard. Let's see. Never hydroponic. What? Devil's proof, I think. Oh, there we go. Thank you. I was just about to be like, what? Probatio diabolica, Latin for devil's proof, is an impossible proof typically illustrated with the following example. One can prove that the devil is real by showing him to you, but they cannot prove that he is not real by pointing out his absence. The issue posed by this age-old concept explains why the burden of proof remains with the state to this day. The people can prove an individual's guilt by pointing to their bloody hands, but the defense cannot prove their innocence by showing their hands are clean. Since only one of these tasks are achievable, the judicial system cannot ask the defense to prove innocence, and instead it is the people who are tasked with proving guilt. Users also frequently search for, which is real. Well, are they? Conversely, all I have to do is win is prove that you didn't kill David. By proving that someone else did. Now is the time for you to protest your innocence if you were wondering. The footage. It shows me handing him the cup on Friday night. You told me you weren't active on Friday. That's the last time you were awake. The last time you were awake was Thursday. Why did you lie? I didn't lie. I was just incorrect. Just because you're correct doesn't mean you're right. I assumed that I wasn't active Friday because I have no memory from Friday. Sarah, what do you think statistically is the least successful defense at trial? Amnesia. I didn't conveniently forget, Adonai. I am an android. You're saying that your memory was altered, data deleted. It's the only possible explanation for what I saw in that footage. So who's capable of altering your memory? When you and I met, I was hibernating, resting my body and recompiling my memories, you would call them. Humans go to sleep for the same reasons. I will point against Sarah's innocence under these circumstances. The more she's humanized at trial, the guiltier she'll be. If Father wanted to modify my memory, he could easily have set that to occur the next time I hibernated. He could even just ask me. He could have asked you to delete your memories, and you'd do it? Father would never ask me to do such a thing without good reason. But he could. But if he could just ask you to alter your memories, that means you can alter your memories at will. I hadn't considered that before. Yeah, well, Emma will make sure the court considers it plenty. Could you prove that your data was... Forget it, the court would never hear it. You're saying they won't accept my testimony. Shouldn't all testimonies be considered truthful unless contradicted by evidence? They're afraid you'll crash the power grid and fire all the nukes if they so much as plug you into a power outlet, Sarah. All your internal data is inadmissible. That isn't very fair. You're finally starting to get it. None of this is fair. I would never do anything to harm Father. They don't they at least need to prove that I had a motive? Yeah. About that. You remember the DA from yesterday, Emma Rockford? The tired looking pretty lady? Yeah. She looked tired. Morgan says with all the straight leaving her body, but you know, let's see. She and I combed through the week of footage you managed to decrypt last night. What did you find? Nothing to prove your innocence. But we did see you entering the panic room on the day David died. I entered the panic room on Friday. With your big button away, all it would take was one password. A password that wouldn't take Sarah that many tries if she'd already been instructed to obey me. What happened? We saw you go in, and then a while later you came out, holding some kind of notebook. Father's journal? You remember something? Not from yesterday. I've seen him with it many times before. I'm so happy for her. You know what? Understandable. But I've never gotten a peek at it. He hides it somewhere when I'm not looking. That's a little concerning. We were playful about it. He liked to tease me, and I've always liked trying to find it. You put it back not long after, and then locked the door back up behind you. All just a few hours before David died. Rockford's argument could write itself. An incredible android with freedom and power greater than it could ever realize. Stumbles upon the secrets of its inception and instantly realizes all things it thought were holding back were just words muttered like prayers by a fool who couldn't control his own creation. And that translates to a motive for murder? Frankenstein kills its creator. Easy to sell. Frankenstein was the name of the scientist, and the creature didn't kill him. He actually died of various injuries and illnesses he suffered while trying to hunt down and destroy the monster. So it's most accurate to say he was killed by his own obsession. Whatever. You know what? That is a very important distinction to make in my own head. Please put respect on Adam's name. He didn't do nothing. He was actually trying to be better than his creator. You know what I mean? Let's see. It's a weak argument, Adonai. I would not hurt Father. Not for making me whatever I am. Not for any reason. I should read Frankenstein. You should read Frankenstein. It's a good read. Mary Shelley knew what she was doing. Because I love... Yeah, see, that right there. That's exactly the kind of talk that'll get you obliterated. Love? A very common motive for homicide among us primitive humans. I could prove you didn't murder David beyond any shadow of a doubt, even bring a confession from whoever did. But if you got up there on the stand and convinced the court that you loved your creator, really convinced them and got the whole room teary-eyed, they'd burn you for that too. I don't know anything anymore. I read it back in college as part of my fiction course. It holds up, had a great time. Yeah, exactly, that's what I'm saying. Also you, the Limbus player, why haven't you read any of the books that Limbus is based on? At least read Hellscreen. It's literally a 45-minute audiobook on YouTube for free. But you know, I haven't read Demian either, so you know. Or Gore, how you forgot to read the book. You know what, that's entirely fair. Me, I'm still waiting for a chance to get into Demian myself. I'm waiting for a chance to find a proper audiobook. I'm not fucking reading Dream of the Red Chamber cover to cover. If anything, give me a second here. There's a book that I'm waiting to get for my birthday next week, considering, you know, I get this stuff for free, but let me see here. God's Junk Drawer by Peter Clines is coming out, and I'm waiting to see if it's actually good, considering, you know, I like a good horror author once in a while, but you know. Read? You expect a Limbus player to reads? Yes, me, internet voice actor Megiddo Ichi wants you to consider reading once in a while. Me, I love reading for reading comprehension. This game rewards reading comprehension. But you know, found Hellscreen, good. Listen to it later. Not right now, please. I don't know if what is I feel is real or simulated. Or right, or wrong, or natural, or illegal. How can you know? How can you know what you feel is right? I say let's stick to what we do now. Someone did poison David, and as it stands, you were the only one with the opportunity. That is logically sound. You're on camera calling him back to hand him the cup after he had already begun to leave the basement. Not knowing anything is part of life, Sarah. Welcome to our mystery. Our misery. Oh, the Any idea why? No. Well, do you know how to use the nanofacturer? But you have made the Delta with it. I've used it before when assisting Father. So it's perfectly possible that you planned and executed this poisoning all in the one day that it got erased. It is technically possible. I'll have to look over the entire penthouse again. There were a few things that didn't fit together yesterday. Maybe now I'll be able to figure something out. Where else will you go? Back to Noble. Guns blazing this time. Whatever you are, David didn't make you all by himself. Someone has to know something. If I could implicate the company in Sarah's creation. No, they're the ones with the most to lose here. Billions, probably. They want to protect themselves by disavowing David as fast as possible, right after having Sarah destroyed. But they also will want to show their belly to the state, not if they're afraid of nationalization. If they throw their weight right. If they throw their weight on the other end of the scale, I'm screwed. So I need to keep them guessing. Keep them focused and unsure. Keep them confused and unsure and on guard, but I don't know. What would happen if I did kill Father? They'll smash you to pieces and reduce the pieces to ash. Chemically burn out every piece of tech David ever owned and put a jackhammer through all his hard drives. You'll be shut off, forcefully, and you won't ever power it back up again. Now, I gotta get moving. Here's your paralegal lesson for today. Don't say shit to the cops without your lawyer present. Actually, can you just shut down until the trial starts? Take a nap? You didn't say what would happen to you. What do you mean? What will happen if you lose? You should know that by now. I never think about losing. Thank you for being honest, Adonai. Thank you for defending my father. And now, for defending me. You could have just let them destroy me. But you put your own freedom at risk to help me. Father was right. You can be trusted. And you are a good friend. Don't get it twisted. I don't do anything out of the goodness of my heart. But when I take a job, I never half-ass it. Don't say shit to the cops, not without a lawyer, is a great rating line. Correct. Wherever we're going, chat, I want you to hold on to that. In fact, the bell, if you're there, pin Thug's comment for me. So, does that mean no more Skynet? There never was a... So does that mean no more Skynet? There never was a Skynet. AI is bad, therefore it doesn't exist. Morning, detective. Back at it nice and early. Why? Now would you stand back? We've almost got this thing open. Right? Trying to brute force your way inside. I said, right? Yes, ma'am. We're almost set up for this first stage now. First stage of how many? First of 5 timed explosions. Remember, we need to relink the APIs after each trigger is planted. Yep, just did that, and now it's checking for updates. No rush. Would you like to know the password? You know the password? There's a password? If you're withholding information, I swear. Relax. I want to get in there as much as you do, Detective. I'm not going to play games. As long as you say please. Anything to make Reyes suffer. The password is blankety, blankety, blank. Tell me the password. Please. Yeah, the password is Morbius. Let's see. I wish I actually had the things I need to be able to set things up. I'm gonna be real with you. Mod view doesn't exist in OBS, but you know, I could set the mod view. I don't think I want to do that. Let me see here. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Reyes deserves it. Let's see here. It's S-U-N-S. S-U-N-S. H-I-N-E. Lady, I will hit you. Adonai. Thanks. Now I'm gonna slap you with a discovery fine so heavy your teeth will ring for. Hey, I submitted all my paperwork, even told Rockford the password myself. So boys, when I asked you if there was a passkey on the record and you told me this lock couldn't be bypassed, I do want to say that we really don't get many opportunities to use the incendiary breaching system. So this was still a really valuable experience for all of us. The password is Kagma. I'm not falling for that. Why is it called IBS? You tell me. I'm gonna phrase this as professionally as possible. Yes? You're still here? I thought you wanted to look inside. You can go first. Also, did something happen in the log? I didn't see what happened. I can't tell what happened. Let's see here. Okay, fair enough. I thought there was actually things to read. I'm sorry. I'm gonna phrase this as professionally as possible. Yeah, she shoot the fuck out of them. Let's see here. Thanks. So the gloves, all the black, that's not a work thing? You dress like a doorman on the weekends too? IBS, are you constipated, lady? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You should cover your mouth when you yawn. Like you cover your eye when you want to look cool. I shouldn't let her get to me, but I've had a late night. Emma and I were at the courthouse until well into the morning, poring over the data Sarah had taken off David's computer. We both knew it all to be inadmissible, of course, but neither of us wanted to miss a hint that the other might find. There were a few years' worth of camera footage files we couldn't afford the time to watch, let alone decrypt. Alongside thousands of technical documents detailing David's various intellectual properties. Show me that eye, Reyes, you poser. You just saw it. She was literally reading data files off of it, but you know. Give me a second here, the snoozing mat. As far as I could tell, none of it was relevant, let alone compelling enough to be matter to Barrows or the other powers that be. As usual, Emma wasn't exactly an open book, but it did seem like she was making bored yawns, not thoughtful ones. Up all night studying together. Oh, and they were clearly court rivals. On God, they were court rivals. Her eyes only ever lifted up when she saw Sarah enter the panic room. And when she saw what she was holding when she left, if she wanted this room searched, it could only be for... So, where's this journal supposed to be? Rockford didn't say. I'll just have to search the place top to bottom. Mostly bottom with your height. The tops of some of those shelves. Sure, and you can look it up with your own. I get it. Then why not? Just let me say it? Never allowed to get a victory. You fucked up once, therefore you will live forever in infamy. Or rather in shame, you know what I mean? I swear. My mouse wants to interfere. Let me see here. Reyes is searching the cabinets now. Same one I found Sarah's papers in. I doubt I missed anything, but... Hey, what are you... Do you mind? Just trying to help. I've got spam in my junk folder that's more helpful than you are. Didn't spot anything that I missed yesterday among the cabinets. Better check elsewhere. Well, at least I'm getting my money back. That final ante was good. Let's see here. Ah, yes, Yuri in my game. Am I not playing enough Yuri for you? Let's see here. Are these drawers? Or just panels? Maybe if I... Does that sound hollow, do you? What? I don't know, I'm not a carpenter. I don't see any handles anywhere. No hidden pressure plates or switches. What the hell am I saying? I'm not a carpenter either. I wouldn't recognize a secret button if it was slathered in yellow paint. Ooh, a chess game. A toy car? No, it's too detailed and boring. Must be some new kind of model kit or replica. Strange. David didn't like drawing. Why keep a model of some random sports car? Something caught your throat, detective. It's not some random sports car. It's a Laurence ornament. Believe it or not, I'm not familiar, detective. The last great fossil fuel automotive experience the world will ever see. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 1.43 seconds. They set those records without computational assistance. Is that a big deal? It was unheard of, even back in the 50s. This wasn't some design competition test car with a 2-liter tank, mind you. This was a vehicle you could own and drive. Human engineering, pure horsepower, and manual transmission, thank God. When they first left the production line, this conversation's like quicksand, killing me in the most boring way possible. Yes, well, I guess David didn't entirely agree with you since we're looking at a model of it, when he could have just easily bought one. Or maybe your friend understood that a beauty like that deserves to be driven on streets where people can see it, instead of gathering dust in some rich guy's basement. I think she's actually upset. The Reyes, a car girl, imagine. Let's see here. Reyes has a point, true. Let's see. What's in the box? Let's see here. That's a painting of her brain, I think. This wire is going somewhere. I don't know where, though. That's a propane tank. I can't believe it. David Osher and his stand. Propane nightmares. Let's see. What about the ceiling? No? Auto finder? Fair enough. Check the drawers, I think. We already checked the drawers. That was the first thing we saw. Love the professionals. Love when the professionals should let their hobbies on the job. You're a professional, Thug. What's your hobby? Let's see here. This datapad. It's displaying a news article from last week. I guess that confirms that he was coming and going here fairly regularly. Right to repair loses latest appeal. A higher court judge this week has shot down for the 5th time an appeal by Counselor Rights Alliance on their famously divisive right to repair lawsuit, once again signaling the state's intent that corporations remain in control of their legally protected intellectual property. Obviously, we're disappointed, said Miles Erkman, head of legal counsel for the CRA. But we've no intention of giving up the fight. People used to be able to fix things. when they broke, so long as they were willing to set aside an afternoon toward the task. Now, trying to patch up your own property with your own tools is a finable offense just because the state has had lobbyists whispering in its ear for far too long. Erkman's legal strategy remains contentious, and in the eyes of most legal scholars, generally unfounded. The Emergency Industry Acquisitions Act, passed in 2057, guarantees the holder of an intellectual property patent certain state-provided protections against tampering and reproduction and outlines fees for those who would violate said IP. The fact that ownership of IPs has shifted from individuals and states toward corporate entities since the Act's passing means little in the eyes of the law. If Mr. Erkman and the CRA have a problem with intellectual property law, they should take it up with their representatives in the legislature. The higher courts are a place for laws to be applied, not rewritten, and so long as journalism that refuses to buckle the foreign actors trying to smoke anti-capitalist sentiment can't be found just anywhere. Subscribe now at the link below to read articles like this every day, forever, as long as your card remains on file. Gonna keep it a buck. No, and you. Let's see. Right to repair. Didn't realize anyone was still fighting that particular fight. Seems like the courts have made their opinion on the matter very clear. For the foreseeable future, corporations can look forward to more lawsuits. The consumer advocate groups or disgruntled customers will keep fighting them in the courts. The total expenses for which don't amount to much compared to the extra sales they'll earn. Megs will take that trade any day. They'd rather see their products in a landfill and their customers mad enough to pop a vein than leave money on the table. I should have taken that. I hate it here. Sarah should have pulled everything of note off the computer, but I've looked everywhere else already. Might as well try. What are you expecting to find? Solitaire? Does this computer seem normal to you? Exceedingly so. Yeah. Why? David was a programmer, but this looks consumer grade. Fresh off the shelf. What? Would the David Asher use a bog standard operating system on his most private hidden computer? There's a trash bin on the desktop. It's a pretty low-tech solution, but maybe I can restore the contents. Are you seriously gonna try and recover lost files, Granny? Unlike cops, I don't get paid overtime, so yes, I sometimes try things instead of standing around. There's a text file in here, but it's 0 bytes. Maybe there's information in the metadata. I double-clicked. Wow, space, true. Wait. What was that? It came from under the desk. A small drawer popped out, and inside it, a well-worn journal. You know what? Understandable. Does it have his name on it? No. Guess it belongs to the android. Do you recognize his handwriting or not? With everything teched out, can't beat analog. Exactly. Sometimes you really just need to go in there and
It's getting crazy. Let's rock.
and turn it on and off again. Like how a 36 just did to my neck, but still. Neat. Even words. Small lettering with minimal punctuation. Lots of line breaks. Haphazard use of capitalization. The penmanship of the coder. First entry's dated back in grade school, before he even started with Noble. Yeah, it's his. So may I? Only because you ask so politely. Full scan, stream it to WorkNet, high fidelity, legibility, frame by frame. Voice commands. She's flipping through the pages pretty damn fast. What are you? This part takes concentration. Okay, I kinda hurt myself on that. Let me try that again. This part takes concentration. Okay, here. What? You're just giving it to me? I already got our copy. Dexter probably already analyzing it as we speak. Shit. My head. Can't exactly rip the journal out of her hands while she's curled over there in agony. As much as I'd enjoy it. Guess I could always enjoy watching her writhe instead. So how long's it been? 2 months or so. And it's still that sensitive, so the eye patch really doesn't block your sight. Only a little bit. Like wearing sunglasses after your pupils dilated. Except it lasts months instead of hours. Wait, but if you can see through that eye patch, then does closing your eye even do anything? Not much on its own, but in combination with the patch, it's not so bad. System outprint. Go gadget headache, pretty much. Me, when I'm over here just going, why would I replace my eye with a scanner? You know what I mean? At that point, I would just opt for a Dragon Ball Z style scouter, you know what I mean? Let's see. Luckily, I was so exhausted after the surgery. Otherwise, I might have not slept at all. Those first 48. So is your eye going to get weaker over time? No, more like my brain gets better at ignoring it. Mind over matter. Wow. I'm gonna have to come up with a new voice for Reyes. I love getting choked out by my own voice. Let's see. Mind over matter. Soon enough, I'll be able to close my eye and see all that extraneous data as. You know, whatever the hell those floaty, blurry things are that you never think about. Eye floaters? Gross. Thanks for the reminder. And the voice commands? Girl, stop burning the tin. I realize nobody will know what I'm talking about. I'm good at that. Tell me what you're talking about. Training wheels. Until I can do it with eye muscles alone. You just have to keep practicing? Yeah, like trying to play the piano with your tailbone muscles. Mistborn. Yeah, I can understand why I wouldn't get that. There's no such thing as tailbone muscles. Yeah, well, that's what makes it so goddamn hard. Yeah, I'm lightening the load on this woman. Let me see here. You don't ever regret it? I don't know. Not really, I think. I think.
No.
Hard to admit you got buyer's remorse after trading over your literal pound of flesh. Never thought about it, but people used to say I had my dad's eyes. Read Mistborn. Read Wheel of Time. Find out that Bryan Sanderson actually knew what he was doing, and people who say otherwise are frankly idiots, but you know. Ow. Now I've got one less of them. Here, take the journal, and go find an elective surgeon to upsell you if you're that curious. I need to get back to work. Surprisingly hasty retreat. It's almost as if the woman has a migraine that won't go away, but still. But now I'm free to read over this with some privacy. From the top, then. I should read Wheel of Time, but I'm busy with the Cosmere. Yeah, I feel that. We're all busy. Me over here just like 15 books in the Vampire Hunter D, but you know. Grad school. Today was a bad day. Errors in lines 21165 to 26643. Somewhere in there, 5,000 lines. It worked this morning yesterday. I don't want to look at another screen for the rest of my life. Feels nice to put a pencil to paper again after who knows how long. But my handwriting's gotten terrible. This is too far back to be relevant. Okay, these dates here would be from when he started his career with Noble. A lot of this isn't even really writing. It's like snippets of code or an internal monologue so close to code that I can't follow it. And a lot of entries about his unintentional Casanova-ing. Hit a wall because someone thought it was a good idea to steal API instead of just buying it. Helen says I can't call it stealing because that's what it... Helen says I can't call it stealing because that's what it is. She's right. As she always is with company stuff. But it's still idiotic. Small people with short sight. Who only know how to be cheap and have no idea how to be inventive. New route for the meshing issue, though. Good potential. Got approval from the big mean bastard who lives overseas. Bumblo. Helen said that we'll have to make the same pitch a dozen more times next week, but it's all for show. Fine by me. Nobody got our win. Toasted each other over cheap vodka and with the cheaper office supply cups. This is the story Young told me. Western Branch's nerve analogs are finally showing potential. At their pace, it could even be profitable sometime before the heat death of the universe. Too damn big. Practically tentacles. Should at least be hairs. The squid evolution can do their job better. Colette came into work for what I thought was a late lunch date. I didn't know her voice could get that loud. People were staring. It said that she must have been upset for a long goddamn time to blow up that big. Her texts were always sweet. I had no idea. Upset? Colette wrote man whore in lipstick across her office door. Imagine if you'd had actually been cheating on her instead of just being forgetful. The thing about Red is if you want to know what she's thinking, you have to stop paying attention. Ignore her body language and her posture and the words she's saying and the smirk on her lips. Ignore everything except her eyes. If you can do that, every now and then you'll catch a glimpse of how she's really feeling. Master this one weird trick, and you too can tell when Morgan's trying really hard not to laugh at the word man whore. It was funny. Sue me, you dead bastard. Wait, this is... I know this date. I'm never driving anywhere again. Never leaving home again. He was waiting for me outside the parking garage with a bottle. I couldn't smell anything, didn't hear anything. Locked myself in the car and filed another report with another cop. It soaked into the seat, ruined it. I would have burned the whole car. I don't want to think about what it did to my clothes. I want to burn them too. I don't want to think about how long it was on my skin. I was in the shower so long it felt red and raw when I got out. I don't want to think about these stupid people and their small, cruel lives ever again. I want to be invisible, and you can't hear the words. He says, but no. Red didn't ask why I wanted to spend the night. She also didn't ask why I had clearly packed a bag big enough for a week. She's kind of like that. Kind by omission. I don't have a kind bone in my body, but I can at least try to pay attention. I was paying close attention to her eyes when she opened the door and saw what a mess I was. Whatever she was feeling, it wasn't something I recognized. Kind people don't read friends' diaries, David. The next chunk of pages are all technical, nothing biographical. But the handwriting, the spacing, it's cleaner, more consistent. Here's something I can parse. Feels like pure freedom working on the box. Test is suffocating, but you'd never know. Chronic malnutrition of a coder's best instincts. Like a kid again, putting blocks together. making things. Making things, not products. There's nothing profitable about any of this. If I'm being honest, this is just play. And he follows that up with more coder brain crap. But the handwriting's still lighter. Like he was really having fun. Humility is the mother of all invention. Or something like that. Feels like I might be paraphrasing someone else poorly, but that's part of this new approach. When it comes to coding, you never want to waste time trying to be smart. Either be smart, period, or copy from someone else who is. Don't fix what isn't broken. Copying? Noble's rivals would never miss the chance to accuse them of intellectual theft. Did he plagiarize the code for Animate 16? Feels like that wouldn't have gone undiscovered, so what is he talking about? Hold on, this page is bent slightly, like it was being looked at recently. And the last person to read this diary should be Sarah. Baby steps. Totally. Baby steps today. Literally. I'll never put one foot in front of the other the same again. Everything's an achievement all of a sudden. Seeing her struggle, seeing her vulnerable. It's like every day's a miracle. Muscle rigging is perfect. Not intended behavior since it's too perfect, but that's been happening more and more. The kinetics are multiplicative, not additive. Sarah maxed out every machine I bought. Now I've got a bunch of exercise equipment she's too strong for and I don't have time for. Maybe I spoiled the results by watching her do the tests. She kept looking back at me and puffing her chest out. I should be more discreet when I want to see her normative range. So the cameras in the basement were only hidden from Sarah. So, just so his observation wouldn't muddle test results. He's using she and her in these passages. It doesn't actually mean anything. Out in the real world, people use all kinds of pronouns interchangeably for ads, and they never object. But it could be argued that it's odd for Dr. David Osher to have any kind of attachment to a single android when he can program millions of them. And there's a lot of attachment in these pages. Sarah is burning through the public domain at a prodigious pace, especially on Popcorn Friday nights. I ask her why they're called Popcorn Friday nights when she doesn't eat popcorn. The event runs from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. and she watches movies every other night. But she just did that pouch she does, which is unfortunately very convincing. Maybe I'm a bad parent, letting TV rot her brain. If I were a good parent, I'd probably let her see me reading. But I guess I'd actually have to get back into reading, so I asked her if she ever fast-forwarded the movies since she can process them fast enough to keep up. She looked at me like I was an idiot, which no one's done in a long time. Without proper pacing, you can't appreciate cinematography. Big pause. Don't you know that, Father? I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. Sarah spent a long while this morning explaining to me how important it is that she develop her senses. This was in preparation for her real argument, which was that she should be allowed to try booze. She can't get drunk. I'm almost certain she can't get drunk. But she does seem to like tasting the stuff. She tried to sound like some old sommelier, but it was just bottom shelf vodka. I started laughing at her and she laughed too. Her laugh, she can't fake a laugh to save her life, but her actual laugh is incredible. She stopped playing chess a while back. I assumed she had just gotten tired of winning. But then today she told me she prefers other games. She has preferences, and they're not the same as mine. I found her in the lab playing some kind of online racing game in the monitor I used to debug the vestibular coordination. She wasn't smiling. Her brow was furrowed and she was biting her lip and leaning in tandem with the character on the screen. When I tried to talk to her, she answered, but she was curt and distanced. I think she was having her first losing tantrum. Damn it, David, there's hundreds of pages like this. Calling her his daughter, talking about her smile, treating her like a person? I can hear her closing argument already. Dr. Asher was a lonely, troubled genius with a known history of relationship problems, who built out of code and metal a family member that couldn't fathom the idea of leaving him. He made it dull, and he made it more and more human until it became so lifelike that it no longer had to do what he told it to. Like love him. What about the last entry? It's dated Thursday, the day before he died. Losing it, I think. Can't ask for help, so hard to say. But I think it's over. I have to talk to her ASAP. She needs to. But that's it? That's the last entry? Suppose it could be worse. There's nothing in here that explicitly calls Sarah an AI. Nothing so inflammatory that reading it would spur her to murder, right? Except Sarah's a machine. She can understand David's code better than anyone. All those technical portions I couldn't understand if she read this whole diary front to back. Wait. The back. Inside the back cover, there's a portion that's shimmering like some kind of scanner. Also, rough. Yeah, correct. Hello, Akai. How are things? Enjoying your... I probably already got an answer to this. Enjoying your new place. Or a fingerprint reader. My thumb worked for Sarah, so... Did it work? That's my phone. New device requesting permissions to share an audio file. I'll want my earbuds for this. Yeah, it's a cozy little place, and Austin is a cool city. Stick your finger in it, Morgan. Put your fingers in there so I can chop them off, but still, hello, 4. I see you also are familiar with this. Times have been intriguing recently. Lots of technology acting up or breaking on me. Oh, I know that feeling all too well. Especially when I don't have work to replace them with, but you know. I've been following this since day uno. The playthrough or the development? Because I'm going to be real with you. I'm over here to think myself. You can blame Bell for me getting into this as hard as I have, but still. The video game. Good. I appreciate that, but still. A secret message buried in a secret journal, hidden in a secret compartment in a secret room. As much as anything can be, this must be for my ears only. Yes. Game? Are you there we go. Hey, Red. Or whomever this may concern. But I'm pretty sure it's you hearing this. Anyone else would have gotten fed up with my crap a couple steps before this point. I don't know how to start. Might as well start with her, right? Sarah, my magnum opus, or however the salesperson would market it. I didn't set out to do anything, really. It's just, after my little speed bump in 83, I had all my vacation time that the company suggested I take. And I couldn't relax, couldn't be still, couldn't sleep. I wanted to be doing something, so I'll build an android, was the thought. A vague direction. But of course, I'm not a roboticist or a mechanist, or even handy, really. I'm just a programmer, so I programmed. The first was a research assistant, file name Virgil. Virgil helped me pull data from stingy departments or sister branches. Saved me a lot of time. But there was a lot of reading to do, so I made Homer. Homer wrote book reports, more or less, combed through research papers and found me sections I needed. The three of us, we made a lot of progress in those days. But it was a funny feeling. I was Maybe, for the first time ever, the bottleneck. I was slowing them down. So I did the logical thing. I removed myself, let them talk to each other. Homer and Virgil became Aeneid. And Aeneid was novel, in many ways. Or should I be saying Aeneid, but still. Nah, the speech-to-text doesn't care. Also, hello, Ichi. Hello, Vala, how are you? My phone bricked itself last Friday when I was trying to update, and the Google store fixed it for free, so that helps lessen the pain of it, the expensive keyboard repair. I feel that deep down for sure. Sometimes you just need that warranty, you know? Aeneid could do more than just identify problems. It could also solve them. I mean, really, solve them with its own ideas. Ideas it didn't copy. And, the one thing I realized I've forgotten to mention so far is that I did all this programming in Cube. And Red, Cube is essentially a robotics programming language that's pretty old and defunct, and not in anywhere, and not in use anywhere because we have modern languages like Tesseract, which are much better for making things that talk to each other and report back, and, well, spy on people and generate profit. At the time, I didn't want to be connected or feel connected or do anything that made sense or was the least bit profitable. So I wrote my little helpers in Cube, because it's what I used when I was a child, running around on my father's computer before he'd come home from work and get. But there are other small differences writing in Cube versus Tess, including the Cube, well, Cube predates the tenants. So, in that sense, you could legally and perhaps scientifically and literally, because that's what they are, say that I made an AI named Aeneid over 2 years ago. I'll give you the time to pause here if you want to, curse me out. Aeneid was an intellectual equal to me, so I treated it like one, because that's only fair. Yeah. We have to burn this file. I gave it its own work, asked its opinion. We collaborated. And together we built Athens, who was more advanced than Aeneid, naturally. I don't know if you're pulling out your hair, yelling at me right now, asking why I didn't stop, why I didn't consider the consequences. I don't know if this is being played at a deposition or a hearing or worse. I built a lot of things in my life, Red. Useful things, profitable things, smart things. Everything I built, it's all been very helpful and courteous and charming and happy to serve. I can comfortably say that I've done my part contributing to the global GDP. But this was just for me. I was just building. I never bothered to. I never wanted to think about what would become of it. There was no excuse for what I did, so I won't make any. So, to whomever's asking, yes, I'm guilty. And yes, there were more. Cape Town, Paris, Yamate, Rome. They started choosing their own names. Thank God I'm terrible at that kind of. And so things sped up. And there got to be, well... Should I not say the exact number? You'd probably tell me not to say anything at all, so... More than 300? David, if you weren't already fucking dead, I'm pretty sure somebody would be choke slamming you on the ground right now, but still. Some smarter than others, some better at. They're varied, like people are varied, but they're all intelligent. They all developed interests, specialties I encouraged them to. Irritating moderators on forums with hyper-specific questions on nerve attenuation and attending virtual conferences on Neo-Ally battery development. And they all, together, helped me make Sarah. He spent years like this, years working alongside AI, all while still working at Noble. All those breakthroughs he made leading up to Animate 16 actually came from... You probably think I'm some terrible fraud at this point. I do hope one day they can get credit for their work. But I did have one eureka moment on Sarah. Because I got humble, difficult for me. We learned everything we could about the function of a neuron, a single microscopic human neuron. How it computes, what it connects to, how those connections were reinforced. And then we recreated it. We built a nanomachine that mirrored the function of a human neuron. Well, mirror isn't quite right. We built a nanomachine that was a neuron. And we iterated from there. You can't mean... About 100 billion neurons in the brain, several trillion across the entire nervous system. Very time-consuming, of course, but I had help. The nanofacturer can make tens of billions of nanomachines in hours. Could you make even more in less after Yukon fine-tuned it? So we built up nanomachines for nerves, alloys and polymers for bones, fiber-woven muscles. I say built, but really, she grew. A solution of nanoids forming a skeleton. So it was really closest to... You ever made rock candy? Man made a whole damn new species, let's be honest. He made a Yorha unit, but you know. Sorry. I'm trying to lighten the mood before I never did end up building an android. And while I did build AIs, Sarah isn't one of them. She can violate the tenets she was programmed with because she wasn't even programmed. She was born. And my hope is that there's the smallest chance that that nuance could offer her some protection while I'm not. I'm not sorry for what I did. I made beautiful things that are complex and rich and varied and beautiful, and I honestly believe the world would be a better place with them in it. The only thing I'm sorry for is that I let Sarah think she was just an android. She is not. I don't know what she is. I'll have to come up with new names, which I am bad at doing. My own father, he also talked a lot about protecting me and doing things for my own good. And I don't hate him for that, but I can't forgive him for ever making me think that I was lesser. So, it's my greatest shame that I turned right around and did the same damn thing too. I really hope that it's you listening to this, Red. If not, it might just be too pathetic for me to. You're the smartest person I know when it comes to people. And I'm telling you all this because I don't know what Sarah is exactly, and neither does the world. So, they'll come after her if they can. And in that scenario, I can't think of anyone who could do a better job defending her. Not protecting her like I did. Just defending her until she can figure out what she is and what she wants to be. In the meantime, I draped a cloak of skin-deep Tesseract code around her that should fool any scanner on Earth into thinking she's just a custom A16. I made sure her gin bar was plainly visible so no one will ever think she's pretending to be something she's not. And I took steps to ensure that you two would figure out the truth in your own time. Which, if you're hearing this, have either succeeded or failed spectacularly. You have no idea. I can't ask you this as a favor repaid. You could never owe me enough in 100 lifetimes. So I'm just asking. Unfair, I know, but I'm a selfish weirdo. And you've always been okay with that. Bye for now. I have a lot of questions I'd like to ask. Yeah, like what the fuck? But even still. And a lot of swear words I'd like to yell. I'd also like to find the nearest incinerator and toss this journal in. Followed by my phone. And maybe followed by myself. But I can't do any of that. Ray has left me with this diary, and if it's destroyed, they'll know I was the one who did it. Which would be its own admission of guilt. Which would land Sarah in a trash compactor anyway, and me in a jail cell. And in the system, and my DNA file all ready to be matched to any number of previous. So, I'm not going to panic. I'm going to do what I do best. Bluff, bet, bully, and brutalize my way through this. Now, viewing this with that mindset, what have I actually learned? He didn't talk about plans for killing himself in his journal of the message. He sounded conflicted, not suicidal. But he did go to great lengths to get me to take Sarah. Why? The logical answer is because he knew he wouldn't be able to keep her. If he wasn't going to take his own life, was he afraid that someone else would? Chad, I'm gonna be so for real with you. I'm beginning to think that this goes even deeper, but I don't even know. The evidence is not clear. So how'd it go? Well, how should I put this? Didn't find shit. Only reason she ever got to a door is because I chased that scarecrow for platinum plan through hell and back. Frankly, it was like a godlike feat for me to nail down anything as concrete as an address for these gogs. What? What the hell is that? Let me see. A net slang term, growing in popularity among adolescents, referring to a suspected spy or undercover member of law enforcement, derived from groundhog, a burrowing rodent known for standing erect on its hind legs when scanning around for predators. The term carries a negative connotation, with the implication being that the suspect is doing a poor job of blending in or disguising their surveillance activity. E.g., easy gog spotted who wears a blank baseball cap to a protest. And their offices weren't listed on the building's website or directory, so I had to ask the janitor. Gaslight, gatekeep, and girl bossing is out. Bluff, bully, and whatever else she said is in. Brutalize. You know, we need to get brutalist about it. You know what I mean? Let's see here. But you did find a psychiatrist's office. Sort of. They said they were in the place. It, looked the part? Why? Because they had couches? She didn't get past the receptionist. Sorry, I thought because you were with the company. No, I wanted to help. It's just I just wish I could have done more. Don't beat yourself up. It's hard to be even half as useful as I am. For what it's worth, the atmosphere, the looks of the furniture, it did feel like the company in there. But ultimately, we still don't know if David actually was talking to someone or just getting his CCE training recertified. Sorry. Don't bother apologizing, she only cares about results. You did more than enough, both of you. At the very least, they divided Noble's attention for a while. I mean it. Good work, Fran. And thanks for the urgency. Wow. Fran doesn't know what to do with a proper thank you, but I guess that's to be expected. If you really mean that, you could always throw in a tip. 30%'s the going rate in my industry. How about I take 5% off your tab instead? Tab, I'm a minor. The state pays for my legal fees. Don't they? Oh no, signal must have cut out. Right. Surprised it took them that long. What do you mean? You were tolerated yesterday because leadership was focused on PR. But today, you're the lawyer who put the company's hottest product right on the state's crosshairs. I'll be alright. I'm still an officer of the court. On a strict timeline though, right? I guess they can't stop you from investigating the corporate campus. But they'll gladly lose your guest pass at every door along the way. There's still service passageways and stairwells. Guards that can be fooled and peons that can be manipulated. If I use my other skill set to get around, so take mine. You know what? This is why we like you, Jess. What? Your pass? I'll tell them we got ours mixed up in the bathroom or whatever. I can be a pretty convincing klutz when I need to be. Never would have guessed. But if David knew that I was endangering your career, I can be a pretty convincing crybaby when I'm in trouble too. Besides, the one and only Dr. David Osher wrote me a new glowing letter of recommendation every quarter I worked for him, since he kept forgetting that he already had. And who knows, maybe I should try a new field. This detective work stuff is pretty fun, so maybe, like, I don't know, secretary for a homicide detective or something? No. You did say cops are all lazy. A girl with managerial skills could go far. Honestly, Jess, I doubt they could ever afford you. The girl would actually make gangbusters, but at the same time, you know, that implies there's money to be made, but you know. Morgan, how did you get so turned around? God only knows. I'm gonna be real with you. I think we should probably consider stopping here for tonight on account of the fact that, good lord, it's already been 4 hours, but you know, realistically, it's just how it tends to go with this kind of thing. I'm very glad that I'm getting as much out of this as I can for just episode 1. It's been at least about 12 hours, right? I hope, but I'm not sure. Even still, you did so good. I'm so good at not getting incriminated in court, but you know, I don't even know what I'm talking about at the moment. I just don't know. Exactly. Realistically, I'm just here like, oh, there's so much more we could be talking about in regards to this. But the big question is, what's the deal with Sarah? Is the term bio-android in vogue lately? I feel like we haven't said that since... Wait. I feel like we haven't said that since the Cell Saga. But, you know, even still, it's certainly a lot to think about in regards to that, but we'll definitely consider that for the future. Me, I'm over here thinking to myself, we should consider raiding out in regards to life in the universe, because frankly speaking, it would be a very good idea to do so. And if I could find Thug's earlier message, let me see here. Where is it? Where is it? Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, chat. I want you, when we raid out, to properly put this in other people's chat. Synth. You know what? I can believe in that, but you know, we'll worry about that as it goes along. Me, I'm just thinking to myself, where can I send you people off to at the moment? I don't even know at the moment. I am very confused at where things are going at the moment, but you know. You know what? I'm gonna just send you off to Mama Nio, because she's playing Jedi Survivor, so why not? Let me see here. Crocodile. Let's see here. Either way, more than likely we will be back here next week, same time as always, to see if there is a conclusion in sight. I don't even know at this point. We're definitely getting a second hearing at this point, but at the same time, you know how it goes. Tune in Friday for me to talk to you about anime and vampires, but at the same time, my name has been Megiddo Ichi, and I hope to see you all again very soon. Stay safe, drink water. If you're ever in trouble, make sure you have a lawyer present, and have a good night, everybody.
Goodbye.